It's approximate.
Yeah, good evening. Hello, scribers, Famalan, sovereigns, and stars. It is 19th of January, and about 2019. Hello, we have some guests tonight. Shadow Dynamics,
Hello.
YouTube, easy now, and our Kev, the living legend himself, Kevin. Yeah, thank you, boys.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you. It's an open hangout, so we can take requests to come and join David at splspro.com. And you've seen the title there. The topic today you'll be starting with. We won't be able to stick to it. I'll try my best. I promise. Our comprehensive academies and trusts charging our children / assets for toilet passes. We're getting the sons and daughters are kind of got like hall monitors now as well. So we have an older
Dave, did you say
student there
charging?
monitoring, charging, asking for money for
What?
tokens.
I'm enraged now.
I'm not laying claim. I'm asking a question because, we have the hall monitors there monitoring the halls.
It's negative capital, but carry on, David.
I'm not sure. Right. Let me tell you this. One of our kids' friends came and said that what had happened at school was that she was in the class and she needed a trump, but she didn't want to do it because she didn't want anybody to take the mick out of her. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Your mum did a good job on you. You're well trained. Your etiquette is, 10 out of 10, proper sovereign. And she says, so because I'm not English and I didn't want to make a trump and I give, the other classmates room to pick on me, reason to pick on me, she says, I kept it in. And she says, and when I kept it in, it was like a long time and I got tummy ache from it. And I asked her how school was, how you get on in school. This is the answer I got. And I'm like, okay. So I said to her, I won't say her name. It was our kid's mate. And I'm like, why didn't you tell the teacher that you needed to go to the toilet? That's all I could, think to say to her. And she says, well, the teacher would say, why didn't you should have gone in break time? And to which I replied, well, you should at least have gone to the. And she says, and you need a pass. I says, what? The teacher give you a pass to go to the toilet? She said, yeah, because otherwise the hall monitor reports you. I'm like, wow. So if you don't have the correct papers, or papers, halt, papers, please. I don't have any. I'm only 12. I want the toilet. Too late. Come with me to the office, officer. I found a renegade. Wow. You know what I mean? These poor sons and daughters, they've just gone from the last bit, the middle school area. You remember that, boys? It wasn't that long ago, and they've just gone to the comprehensive now at the age
Maybe
of 12,
not for you.
11 and 12. It's quite a daunting experience. We'll remember the first day at comprehensive, and secondary school, whatever you called it, big school, we'll say. And that alone is enough. And the new class and, everybody mixing in. And now we've got more multinational than in my time. There was maybe an Indian guy or two, and maybe mixed race, darker skin, couple of darker skinned brothers or sisters, that being Indian and like Jamaican black type in 86-ish, early 80s for me. But now, we've got such a mixed demographic. It's thought that in itself is a big enough journey for all. And then we've got these rules and regulations for 11 and 12-year-olds to start adhering to or accept the full public liability, which eventually, let me tell you, because I covered this before, get your handbook out for the Academy and Trust. And it says they want your signature at the bottom of it for you to consent so they can isolate, detain, and sanction the assets, sons and daughters. I'm like, what? You've reserved the right to isolate, sanction, and detain. You've got hall monitors going, halt papers, please. And the teacher won't let you go to the toilet because you should have gone at break. Well, let Daddy Sovereign here tell you that. Yeah, let me tell you that nature, unfortunately, doesn't operate on a 9 to 5 timetable.
Yeah.
Governors and trustees, does it? And I can only say that there's going to be some claims of sexual discrimination coming out of it, of my mind, to beginning with. I know boys and girls have both got the right to go to the toilet, but girls will need to go to change sanitary items, and their timing of aren't flow, and we'll keep it, because minors are involved. We're not make any light of this, but because of the time, they may have break, and then they might go to a class, and then something might occur, and which they may need to leave. And so you need to be able to exempt some of them, the female side. God Lord, I dread to, and this is just like, I'm going to stop. You guys speak, please. What's
Well,
happening?
as I said a few minutes ago, they're obviously in prison under the Fourth Reich because this is ridiculous. I mean, I would not have it. I would, as I just said to you guys, I'd be down the school saying, "What? My child needs to go to the toilet." They do not even have to ask you permission or speak to the hall monitors. They go to the toilet and they return to their seat, and it's got nothing to do with you, and nobody's stopping it. I would not have it. It's ridiculous. You've got to have a pass to get past the Nazis in the hallway just to go and have a piss. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. It's fucking, excuse my French. It's fucking ridiculous. And I would not, if that was my kid, I would have already taken doors off the hinges on my way in. I tell you now, I would not put up with that. I don't care who they are. Look, my kid's not misbehaving, etc. They're not having that sort of control. How dare they?
Well, what I think is just because a few bad ones have gone to the toilet, operated a handset, mobile phone, been in there half an hour, 45 minutes, gone missing. Well, those are the ones that need sanctioning and dealing with and permission. And everybody else,
they'll know who they are.
Everybody else should be given a free run. It should be given you like what we do. We trust and we accept everybody, and until they try to burn us or screw us over, in which case then we go, I see you've mistaken our kindness for weakness. No, we are not weak. We're just very kind. So here comes some strength now, and some to back up and rectify the situation. So every child, daughter, son, asset should be entrusted to go. Trust is what we operate on. And then once they breach that trust, once the trust is breached by their own actions, then we'll show them that actions have consequence and reactions.
Exactly.
And this is what we're going to now implement. Rather than just saying, everybody, get here.
Yeah.
This is how it is. And if you break this, then, you'll pay. Yeah. Well, they're all innocent. They've done nothing wrong. And it's a call of nature. You have a calling. I do not have a name. How can I be a name judge? Legal realm. That's what they're doing here. That's what, how they're making them write the names out and all this, And
they're making it, they're forcing them to conform.
Programming. Yeah, you go. The bell. Everybody move the bell. Drill, rank and file.
It's ridiculous. Oh, I'd be apoplectic. I'd just go and raise the whole school to the ground. I won't have that sort of thing. Obviously, I wouldn't. I would go down there and make it very.
Well,
I would, yes, but I wouldn't use any bad words. But they'd know exactly what I meant, and I would just put it straight to the headmaster, whoever. I'm not having, and this teacher. Let's have the both of you in this room. I want to work with you now. This is what's going to happen.
Because the academies reserve the right. When anybody reserves the right, that's because we've submitted. And submission, you see, they're very clever with their words and how they operate it, even though they don't directly come out and give you a breakdown of disclosure of everything, how it is set up, hierarchy, trust setup, legal setup, your status, the relationships, their inherent power, their assumptions and presumptions. You don't get any of that. You've got to work it out, just like in the judicial realm. If you don't know whom you are, you won't win. If you don't know that's your asset, like Smithy smoked about, like Smithy spoke about,
smoked about as well.
Smithy said, I won't breach any of that, but he's of his own divulsion has brought up about how he's handled the academies and give them express, short verbiage and said, yo, this is how it is. We didn't say yo, sorry, but that's just me being street. But yeah, this is how it is. Dave. No, I've been talking some. I can't tell you about so much news. I'll tell you in a bit. But yeah, he pointed out the relationship and said, so if ever you are confused about authority, this is how it is. If you've got out to say, let's have it. Otherwise, we'll keep to this. And that's how it is. It's a simple correction of relationship, which would involve this daughter in question, our kid's friend, their parents having a meeting with the head of year and seeing the agent because the head of year is actually in an agent capacity because she works under what? Under the principle of the trust. So there's a principal trustee at every academy. That principal trustee has then his head of years and other trustees underneath him because he's a principal trustee. He has subsequent trustees underneath him. And those subsequent trustees will be classified as agents. So when we notice them verbally or with a letter, notice to agent, notice principal, notice agent. So he's already knowing that. So you could just have a meeting and just correct it all and then make sure that he gets a copy, or actually ask for the principal trustee, anybody that's listening and confused and wondering how to rectify and regain the reserved rights and take them off the academies and trustees, you would then unreserve that right. And for the verbiage, we'll have a forum on the .com, and I'll put a letter together that I'm going to use for this girl's mum and dad to contemplate, and maybe I'll do one for our kid as well while we're there, as I'm doing one for somebody else. It won't go amiss for us to unreserve the rights officially in notice form, so that it can be filed.
Well done.
Scan it, email it to the school. Then there's even a record there. You don't need to do your £2-3 signed for. Get an email address of a trustee at the academy, and then email it. So then, if there's any need for reference later on, it's like, well, it's there. Look, got it here, digitally recorded. Bosh, no money needed, because we're all about budgets. Oh yes, fam, we're all about budgets, aren't we? Hey, we have to be.
That's a very kind word for it, isn't it? Budgets. You mean we're all absolutely spotless?
Bum raped every day by your subservient as we are, second class citizens. The creditor reduced to a has not. Yeah, I'm about It's not funny, but yeah.
Nothing. They don't make anything easy, though. That's the point. It's supposed to test you.
Yeah, it is. And then if you test the system, it's designed to test you even harder.
Yeah, man. Well, with their tort claims.
Testament. Oh. It's a testament. Yeah, it's a testament what you've just said to the times we live in. James, that statement you just said is a testament to the times we live in, and meant, as we've said about go
mental.
Ahead. Vern, green, Italian, and ment is mental. Yeah, so testament. In testamentary, test your mental, which is where key competence foundation comes in for our publications, because we've clicked and says, so it's the mind you're after. You're mining
he's like
mind.
He's like a plugging wizard, isn't he? When he gets going. Oh, by the way, don't forget the foundations enough. Dave, you're an absolute star, mate.
It's what we need. It's our key. It's our strength.
I know, mate. I love it.
That we've been hijacked. Some fucking virus has got inside of us, and like TV, media, and our upbringing, and computer games, and we've learnt these rhythms, and we need to stop, and just have a look. And that's all I can say.
You're the perfect front man, Dave. You're the perfect front man. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah,
right. Try.
I used to play these computer games. So there's little clues in them games of what's going on as well.
Isn't it just?
It's mad.
Think about it. Go on.
Yeah. It's mad though, because when I was like a kid, I used to play like Metal Gear Solid. I used to go to school and all that, and then do what normal kids do: play football and then play Metal Gear as I go home. And it talks about the CIA and all that caper. How they cover things up.
Well, listen, history has told us and given us evidence in picture form and hieroglyph, which is classed as a type of picture form, and it has delivered information via pictures for a very, very long time, and it's been quite effective in doing so. So it wouldn't be so far-fetched to think that the video games and the comics and so forth, there's even a film, is there not? M. Night Shyamalan, is it one of them ones where it starts off Denzel Washington, the man with the bones, he's got a brittle bone. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. What's that film? Yeah, and he says
The Bone Collector.
He does say no, it's not. No, it's close. Nice try, but no. First word sounds like TV movie. I forget now. It's got Bruce Willis, and he's indestructible. Is it Unbreakable? Unbreakable. There we go then. Unbreakable. And in that film,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Actually, what I'm calling back now is from that film. He says pictures, comics, and he's all about the comics. And in that film, and he says history has delivered us the information through pictures, and he sat behind Egyptian hieroglyphs, Samuel L. Jackson at the time, talking to Willis, who's unbreakable, and the train's crashed, and he's the only survivor of the train crash. He's never been
That's
ill,
right. Yeah.
and he's questioning his life. And at that point, Jackson's there is this weird, comic book owner.
Fragile, Mr. Glass.
Yeah, that's him, Mr. Glassbones. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, he's just, there's a brand new film out, just coming out, but just him, Glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's why it's on my mind.
But yeah, and it was tied in at the end of, what's the one it was tied at the end of the other day? Oh,
we're not here to advertise that either. We're not by any way advertising. It's just that in that film of what
the film Split.
Yeah.
The film Split.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of that, there's a shot after all the titles and everything. There's a scene in a cafe, and there's these three women on the screen. They're talking about what's his name? Avery, is it? Anyway, the guy that's in the main character in Split, he's obviously escaped, and it's all on the news. And one of the girls goes, "Oh yeah, wasn't there something about this guy a few years ago?" Blah blah blah, and she moves slightly to the left, and Bruce Willis is sitting behind her, and she goes, "Oh, what was his name now?" And he goes, "Mr. Glass." So that's linked to and so Split. That Split film is involved in the character in that is now one of the baddies, if you like, as well. So that's bringing that film into it too. Anyway, there you go.
Marvel and DC. Yeah, let me interject. Marvel and DC, like with these characters, then, like we'll say, which characters? Not. Let me think. No, not all of them. We'll go for him, Thor. And what else is there now that they've done that's a bit weird? That's not just hit and smash and rockets. There are some depictions of ancient old fable tales that they've converted and rehashed, and there's the Avengers, I'd argue, as some kind of hero's quest depiction made into Hollywood blockbuster. Thor and those type of films, which are based on Greek mythology, will be based on, Clash of the Titans. That's another one, because Tartaria in that film, Clash of the Titans, when I started hearing about these mud floods and Tartaria, I thought, isn't there a globe somewhere that old man in that film, A Clash of the Titans, shows them this globe thing, and he's talking to a little owl that's like a Sinbad the Sailor, and he shows them this world, and it's a backdoor key into an underworld of which they need to get into, and he calls it the Tartaria machine. I'm like, clues hidden in plain sight, boys.
Yeah. Talking of games, what sort of picture of the world am I getting at the moment as I'm playing South Park: The Fractured Butthole?
Messages. Yeah, children are programmable units at the end of the day, and they're not. But essentially, if they were operational hardware, as a famous elitist said once, children they are give them to me till they are 7, and I will be done with them, because after 7, the susceptibility isn't as great. But from the age of 0, born, soul journey day to this realm, and up to 7, you are capable of amazing things. And if you are to be like Matthew in Sheffield said on the last hangout, there's a video on YouTube called The Baby Scientist, where his dad's putting balls on a table, marbles or some discs, and he's making shapes of atomic structures, and the baby's going nitrogen, helium, and he's like, what? And this is a 3-year-old baby, for God's sake. So we are all programmable units, and it's been realized at an early stage that we can be susceptible to programming. Like, if you watch these hangouts, you will learn passively as you listen and chat, and in the chat room, and are just doing whatever you do. You will hear us and watch us, and you will maybe listen, and you'll get bits of good information. But by that getting that good information, you've passively learned. And these games that we've played and things that we did, hacking, killing. You said Metal Gear Solid, did you not? Metal Gear. So Metal Gear, yeah. It's a combat. It's a first-person shooter combat game. So it's getting everybody geared up. Sorry for the pun. For the front line and the infantry. Now, infants growing up into teenagers. The infant's now a teenager, and he's playing the game where he's an infantry again. So he's back to being a baby, even though he's a teenager, being an infant in the infantry. and he's being a soldier, and you might like that. Then you might go and sign up in a year's time when you leave school, the indoctrination academies, and be a soldier, because that game got you interested in it. So these games aren't just there for amusement as such. They will meld your mind, but in a passive way, you see, because you wasn't in a war, you was in your bedroom, but in your mind, you was in a war. And as that government and testament, it's all about the mind, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And it was more of a stealth game, really. You had to...
Listen, just what I was going to say about stealth. I said, what it is, you need to learn the stealth games, get your head around stealth, because at some point it may come to the fact we're going to have to be stealthy in order to kill the people that have the guns, so that we've got the guns.
GoldenEye.
That's no
So
point in the game.
practice those games. Practice those games a lot. Stealth.
That N64 GoldenEye, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell were brought out, weren't they?
Yeah, I played that.
Late 90s,
yeah, all of them.
2000s.
My boy was mad for them. My lad was. He played them all than me, but I've got all of them.
So these days, our assets and offspring are in the academies, which are not so much academies or even trusts. I don't think any of us trust them. And they are in these places where they have to repeat, and do as they are told, not be creative. Then when they come out of that and they grow up, as soon as they're 18 and they go to sleep on the 17th, last day of the 17th birthday, that magical thing happens where you wake up at 18 and now you're legally full liable, aren't you? Full liability. Now you're 18 for your actions. No one's told you that, but it's happened overnight. You don't get a certificate award, any training for it, but now it's on. It's game on. You're like, in effect, you're live. You're now really live, aren't you? And you go about until you're 21.
You get key to the door, 21.
Yeah, that's it. And we put that in the bin.
They don't tell you what the door is or where, do they?
No, it involves 3 knocks and it's in London. Let me tell you, that's
and
where
you don't need the key.
No, we've got the key in our minds. That's
the keys is a red herring.
And it's an educational. We're at the. You see, we've said it before. The tree of knowledge and the tree of life. The tree of knowledge is where we are now. You know, where we was with the technology and the bite from the apple and the thirst for the all-knowing. But now we're in we're at the tree of life, because we're in life and we're using technology, but we're not. We're using our own minds and our own interaction and our own experiences to govern ourselves, rather than beliefs or hearsay or the technology itself. The technology only assists us, whereas before it was kind of leading us. That's the change.
Yeah, man. Indeed. Absolutely. They love their system of torts. If you challenge the psyche in a way, and it kind of creates a cognitive dissonance.
System of torture. But when you're 12 years of age, you don't need to be suffered and having. We're not speaking legalese here, everyone, so I can use what words I want. So you don't inflict and allow a child to suffer torts. Yeah, even this world is not for children. Are assets are to be protected and loved and nurtured, not victimized, isolated, sanctioned, disciplined. And then torts, fuck's sake, they're not even 18. They're not. So if they're not responsible, then we are. And if we're responsible and we're allowing that passively again through our own, trust in something which isn't, it's not so trusting. Lest we not forget, the teachers are now getting extra duties, and they're now psycho-evaluating every like they haven't got enough to do. Like, I don't know where they're going to get the time to psycho-evaluate our children and say, these 3 here, they need to come out of their home. They need to go somewhere else, because I'm a teacher.
With what
and
qualifications?
I say so.
So I mean, with what qualifications are they doing this shit? Excuse my French.
I'm not making claim, but this is apparently what's going off and what's going to be implemented to alleviate the social pressures. I'm like, hang on a minute then. The government are willing to intervene and take children out of families because it's a belief of possible harm may come. There isn't actual harm there, just if they believe it. Again, this belief system, we need to really look at it. And, they believe that there may be, we're all for saving. Anybody that's listening, it's not that we're against every government policy and instrumentation and whatever. It's just that it's all being done wrong, and it's our duty to do first. And if there is no harm, No, it's not. I can't, stand here and say that it's because there are like the
No,
officers and the old Bill. There are good ones out there. They're us, the whistleblowers. We give love to them.
yeah,
The
I know
sovereigns, they
quite.
are sovereigns,
I know a
innit? You're
few of them.
sovereign, and you know it. What we
Yeah.
need, they're us. We are the ones hurting ourselves in the hall at the school. The hall monitor is a child, is a student. It's not a teacher. It's not a trustee. It's one of them turned on them, employed to like what we like what's outside.
That's why they
The
bought our
officers.
neighbour watch as well.
Yeah, do our job. We can't be asked to patrol the street, so you do it for us and ring us up, and then
Yeah,
we'll come out. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Pardon. Sorry. Pay your taxes, or we'll be after
don't
you.
apologise. Be normal.
Enough's
But
enough.
you're asking him what you're paying with, or where's your claim? Is the
Oh,
GDP is the exact same as it was in 1931? Yeah. Oh, there's no debt then. Oh, there's their claim gone.
Go on, James. Yeah, I promise to pay. That's all you can do. My promise is as
Yeah.
good as gold. Bosh.
well, that's
We
all they're
promise to
giving
pay.
me. Is
Mm.
promises to pay.
Each
What's good
banknote.
for the
Yeah.
goose?
Yeah.
Get
all
yourself
that.
a commercial lien, or you can lien
Yeah,
yourself.
Listen, this you've just made me think. This is why the academies and
steady.
trusts and schools are. I can hear the cogs. This is why. This is why they are the way they
Good
are, and
eye.
they're so controlling. Because when you live in a country where there is a separate bunch of elite bankers and economists and so forth, bloodlines, we'll say elite rich bloodlines, 7 of them, maybe 12, and they live in London, with their bases, the Bank of England, and these guys are exempt from all public law. They're not exempt from God's law, but they're exempt from all legislation and law. The bank cannot be investigated. The Bank of England, or the Bank of can mean without in legalese, so it could be the Bank without England, also read as, and they print money on blank paper. All right, it's fancy and it's made of dead animal now and it looks plastic, but they print it and it's worthless, to be fair. It's just plastic, everybody. It's thin layers of plastic, what you've got in your wallet with promises to pay on. And our government take that and say, okay, we'll borrow that 50 million, thank you. And then them rich elite bankers that are outside all public law say, yes, and we will want 150 million back for that 50 million. And the government go, no problem. But them 12 bankers are the only ones that make money. Our government has the ability to print its own money and lend it itself. So why doesn't it do that? Because we have this system at hand where we say, oh, the system's broken. Well, it's not. It's just that the Roman invasions, it's not just Roman, but mostly, is set up here, and they're quite happy with it, and we ain't going to change it by having a few chats on YouTube, let me tell you. But it's just food for thought, and the reasons why the schools and the teachers and the systems are the way they are, because there's a stronghold here. It's invaded us and it's settled in. It's got its hooks in us and it ain't letting go. And if we dare get to an educational level of which would rival some of these lot, then that's what they don't like. We're not meant to do that. We're the exceptions to the rule, so to speak.
Yeah. Dave, could I ask a quick question
Yeah.
about the charging?
Yeah.
When you said earlier they're talking about, excuse me, charging for the passes. What do you please? What sort of charges are we talking here?
I said, why didn't you ask the teacher to go to the toilet to our kid's friend? And she said, because you need a pass and I didn't have any money. And I said, well, what do you mean? And so she's confused. I'm not saying I have evidence of, but the 12-year-old girl did not know what the hell is going on. And she didn't want to go and make a fuss at the desk because she needs a trump and needs to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So she just sat there because she didn't know if she needed any money or not to buy a pass to go to the toilet. Because she said, if you've got a disability or you're less abled or there's something wrong with you and you've got you're ill, then you can get a hall pass. And
I've got a disability. I need a piss.
Do you know what I mean? No, but you might be ill. You might have to do a bit. Just come
Yeah,
back from
exactly.
a stomach bug. So you go to reception and you get a pass and we give all your evidence and you submit your proof before claim. All that business is going off with 12-year-olds here. I need a hall pass. Why? Because I'm ill. Got any evidence? What, proof of claim? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've got some here. So, well, know what I mean? They're already dealing with this now at 12, but they don't know it. They submit that, rank and file it, and then obviously they get a hall pass. When they're caught in the hall by the Gestapo, halt, papers, please. I've got a pass. I'm clear to go, you know.
Yeah, no way, mate.
But this girl here, she didn't know if you have to buy one or not. So I'm asking YouTube, the Famalan, what have you got? Tell us what you know. If you've got any experiences with denial of rights for our assets, children, you know, to go to the toilet at school, I'd like to hear about it. And if you've got anything personal and detailed, then email to David at splspro.com and redact all the details, and I can share that and put it as front pages on r.com, and we can chat about it and use it as evidence. But I'm going to get some rights reserved from the academy and trust, and just make a meeting and say I'll go down with
I require you to try and find out how much they're trying to. If that is the case, I'm really intrigued because that's just beyond a joke.
It's subsidising the
I
budget.
request it.
Charging.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
she doesn't know. She didn't know if they need any money or not. So I'm like, well, why would you need money for a hall pass to go for a wee?
Or does it just mean you go up to the?
Yeah. She says,
maybe you have to get it from the teacher.
I think
but if you have to pay, like that, you what? So what's this? This the new public toilets, is it? Where you used to put a tuppence in or something. Because now they're charging the kid, making a few quid from going. Oh my god!
At the minute, it's a rumor from a 12-year-old. I want to say just now,
I know
it's
that.
not confirmed,
I understand that.
But
I understand that.
That we have some trusts that are under budget, let's say, that need to subsidise their budgets. Yeah, and I did mention on Facebook, I did go live on Facebook a few times and talk about the budget and what he spent it on, and the fact that the national shortfall was 200 quid on average. This is a national average. Each academy was 200 sheets short for its for every student. So if you've got an academy with 1,000 students, 200 quid times 1,000 is 200,000. You've got 10,000. Well, you won't have 10,000, 5,000. You've got a big deficit to fill, and teachers' budgets, teachers' salary take almost 90% of all trust and academies' budgets. So I believe and hear, and what I did on my research. So if they're already taking 90% of all trust and academies' budgets, the teacher's salary, if you deliver a budget and put on average national, each student £200 short, that's going to massively eat into an already small budget of 10% remaining after the teacher's salary, which now means the trusts and academies have got minus money. Once they've paid the teachers, they've got nothing left. Some of them, not all. And I'm like, this can't be right. Hang on, what the? This is just what?
So the answer is, let's charge the kids to have a piss. Brilliant.
Well, they are quite ingenious, aren't they? I'm not saying that. If it turns out they are, then I predict.
I mean, if they're short of piss, if they're getting paid by the piss, Dave, if they're getting paid by the piss, then we can send bottles of it into them if they're short of it. There's no worries.
But listen, even if they're not being charged, the point is, if any of our sons and daughters would like to go to the toilet and the right to answer the call of nature is denied, then that's a shitstorm in a teacup, that is.
I would say in my paperwork that said that if you deny it, it will be hanging. That's what I put on my paperwork. I will come down and personally hang you. End of. I'd make it abundantly clear, Dave, I would not have this. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Don't stand for it, mate. Get it sorted, or I'll come and do it for you.
No, this is our kid's friend, like,
but even so, you do the same for your kid, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Jesus.
So,
absolutely. Cut that bollocks.
Listen, like we've said about the last will and testament, if you're in a common law relationship and you're not married and you've been together a while, then you might need to think about securing your assets with these testamentary last will. We're not going to get into that now. So, if you haven't had any trouble at the schools with your sons and daughters at present, it doesn't mean to say that you don't need to protect and unreserve the rights that the academies have all reserved. And if you have signed that handbook, which is the welcome handbook to the comprehensives when they start after your inductions and everything, then you might need to refer and read back to it, and you will see somewhere that there will be a paragraph where the disciplinary actions and the military actions are of the isolation and sanctioning, and it says that they have reserved the rights for detention as well and so forth. So this is the realm, and you've acquiesced to that by not reading it or not reading it and taking it in and signing it. So they accept that, and then that's how this system works, you know. And if you
Silence implies consent, doesn't it, David?
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely, it
the
does.
12, 14, anything under 18 is not legally responsible. So it's just food for thought. You know, I'd like to get feedback. I'm having a look in the chat room now to see if there's anyone that's got.
Yeah, can I just say I can't I can't see a chat room or anything. So if anybody's give me a shout, hello everybody. But I can't see any comments or anything on there at the moment. All I can see is whoever's talking, basically.
We have Albert, Transparent Solutions, Jonesy, Sister Nonna. Who else we got there? There's a few new ones dropped in. As I said, Honda. Yeah. One down here. MG, Midnight Gardener, Andy, Star 123, not Smithy.
I off Creator, that's Andy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I off Creator, yeah.
Mad Pie Man, Rose Tinted. The legendary Blue Gamer. Can I join the call? P.S. I subscribe. The legendary Blue Gamer, you would need to email david@splspro.com. And yes, I will let you on. Let me just see. Has he got any videos? There's a need for me to go and have a look now. Right there, boy. Can you see the chat room, Shadow?
No, I can't. I'll have to put me over phone on charge.
I've got a laptop sitting in there, but two bits of technology working at once at my age, woo, dodgy.
No, all you have to do is go on YouTube, and you can just read the comments and chat.
I've only got to fire it up. Actually, made space on the table. I can actually put the bloody thing in front of me, actually on the table now.
Kevin, hello. That's of the Flynn clan. Yeah, I've just refreshed now. I think I've said everybody else.
Yeah, it's just.
If
these schools are doing that, it's a bit mental with all the
come on,
excess that's
it's
going
too
on.
far, isn't it? It's too far to have control over when a child has a bit. I don't care how old they are. Obviously, like Dave said, you'd weed out the wrong uns, and it's all on trust. You break the trust, then next time it ain't going to be so easy. Simple, but to just go flat across the board, and I want to know about this charging. I really do. I'm sorry, it's bugging me. What charge?
Let me see if I can find anything on the web of.
Because that's ridiculous, and you can pay for it as well.
Why don't you give the child the 1931 gold standard removal? Or like that'll just
Wait, here we go. Oh, we got. Let me see. I've done a search. So
all you have to do is say give that to the headmistress.
I'll put UK only. All right, boys, and I've got one already straight away. There's quite a few. It's let me see what domain it is. It's a .com.
Where it is? UK.
I did say
Where's
UK
that?
search, and it's given me a .com. But it says a Bristol schoolgirls, no toilet. Oh, what? Wait there. Keep getting attacked. It's really annoying. These weird things are happening. We've pissed loads of people off. I know that. All right. Menstruating schoolgirl denied toilet pass to her in class. I'm laughing at you, Kev, not at that title. That was a wrong title.
I know.
Stop it.
Sorry.
A Bristol school's no toilet break policy is condemned after school on period bleeds through clothes. Linda Moorish, News Mavens, United Kingdom. No, 18th of Jan 2019. Navigating school corridors and social situations as a young girl who has just started her period can be traumatizing.
Jesus Christ.
As someone who went to a school that may as well have been the Wild West during break times and lessons. I spent the first year as a menstruating woman, clutching my rucksack as if my pouch of sanitary towels would come bursting out at any minute. I'm not going to go all the way through that, but if you search, you will find that, yeah, this one just says staff at
This is
school
outrageous, mate.
refused an 11-year-old girl's request to go to the toilet while she was on her period. According to Bristol
Absolutely
Live,
outrageous.
the girl pleaded with teachers but was left humiliated after bleeding through her clothes in the middle of the classroom. Bristol Live has since reported that the policy has been condemned by readers, parents, and the British public as unacceptable and
No
outdated.
way, man.
The girl's mother said she was worried other girls would have similar experiences across the UK and about how other schools would deal with the situation. They should not be making young girls feel guilty. See, sexual discrimination, my love, that is. But there you go. That is from newsmavens.com. And I just searched on DuckDuckGo, simple keywords, schools charge for toilet passes. So that's denial of going to the toilet, not charging of. There's nothing about charging. So if we get something, then that'll be breaking news. We'll get some breaking news about it. But yeah, denial of, because you say I want to go to the toilet and the teacher has all the power. Okay, let's go to the right. Kevin, you're in the class and I'm the teacher. You've put your hand up and you say you'd like to go to the toilet, and I say no, you should have got in your break time. So you sit there because I'm the authority and you've asked to go to the toilet, and the reply given back was no. So because I'm the boss and you're the student, you sit there. It would be on the teacher, and the teacher's got the discretion to say yes or no. So if the teacher denies, I deny you, and then you say, "Come on, I really do need the toilet. I'm sorry, but my mum and dad have got me on a healthier lifestyle, and I have to drink 2 liters of water a day. And because I'm drinking up to 2 liters of water a day, I need to wee 5 times a day, and some of them times are in break time because I'm being encouraged, to drink more water." By the government, by health authorities, and so forth and so on. I'm 80% water anyway. So, yeah, come on. And I'm like, stop giving me lip.
20% fluoride.
If you take your own distilled water in, you can pretty much remove the fluoride. So, yeah, you can do it like that. Put some pink Himalayan salt and say, I am man of dominion of this body, need to offset some body fluids in the toilet. If don't, I will hold you responsible.
Yeah.
Kevin says,
absolutely.
here, I got one here from Kevin of the Flynn estate. I gave my son a note saying if he is denied access to the toilet, he has my permission to shit himself. And I used that spelling. He used that spelling. He got a pass soon after, as he has Crohn's. Oh, see, Crohn's is the bowel
Absolutely,
disease, I
see?
believe.
It shouldn't matter anyway. But, fair play. And fair play to you, mate, for writing a letter. That's what I'd have said as well.
No, the paperwork does precede the man.
I'm going to tell him to piss on your feet if it's a boy. I'm going to say just piss on the teacher's shoes. She won't let you go to the toilet. Bollocks to it. Might as well.
I've lost a message.
I'm not having it.
I've lost a message from the legendary Blue Gamer. So just email David at splspro.com. And I've lost him. He's not on the screen.
Oh dear.
But just bear with
Excuse me.
Keep chatting, boys. I'll try and link up.
I'm rotting.
Blue Gamer.
Slowly.
I've got brothers and sisters who go to school. My brother is in I wouldn't say it's like modern learning difficulties school.
Yeah.
It's like an academy. It's like a high school, but it's sort of like that. It's like It's
whereabouts are you? What area is that?
Cheshire.
Oh right.
Yeah, Cheshire near Liverpool, between Chester.
Right.
Yeah, I met Dave last year. Well, actually, met him in late 2017, and then I met him in March, and then Liverpool in the summer.
Oh, nice.
And I met Steve there and Gary.
Gary.
And Andy. Yeah. Gary, he's got like grey hair. Yeah, he's got grey hair, and he was with Steve McRae.
Oh, I've met Steve McRae in person. I've spoken to him a couple of times, but yeah, I met him in person. So I'm not sure of Gary.
Oh, Gary's all right, you know. He's
No, I mean I don't know him. That's what I meant. Sorry, I said
yeah,
the wrong words. I don't, I can't place him. Is what I meant.
yeah.
Sorry.
We all have undiagnosed mental illnesses that must be regulated and administered. Mad Pie Man, I would argue that yes, Kev, we was on about this earlier. He's just said what I was talking to you about in a private chat. We all have undiagnosed mental illnesses that must be regulated and administered.
Yeah.
Yes, different ends of different spectrums, and because you are apprehensive, nervous, even angry, depressed, shy, over chatty, overconfident, we all have got, I wouldn't say they are mental illnesses, but I'd say we all have a mental state of which our intelligences are on a spectrum of. James, we was chatting before about spectrums and autistic, dyspraxia, numbers, how we were told when we were younger that we were misfits and good for nothings and not be able to surmount too much and would need extra help. And then it turns out that what we thought was wrong and struggled with was actually wrong, and we were right to struggle with it. And the ones that just sucked it up and did well and got on with it were good at nothing but repeating what they saw. We couldn't repeat.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, man.
I couldn't remember it, and I've like stood up to do my times tables, and I'm like, 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times, and then I'd get to 6 times 7 and be like having to count in my head and that, and the teacher would be like, hurry up, are you getting the ruler? Hurry up or you're getting the ruler, hurry up and repeat faster. And I was like, just the pressure of it all, not good. Big letters, little letters, backward letters, getting joined up, grammar, punctuation, spelling, it was all just very difficult. And you wasn't allowed to be creative except in English, I suppose. You could write stories to some extent, and singing, wow, that was useful. Music.
That's nothing. Listen, I was all boys Catholic school, full of priests. The full shebang. Oh yeah, mate.
You're on YouTube, don't you, Kev? We are live.
I know, but it's the truth. I was
not a big fan of Catholics.
They weren't successful at poisoning me, as they found out rather quick. So, but yeah, I had to suffer all that bollocks, quite frankly. There you go. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah. Didn't put mine through it.
Congress says the world of historical wars are a mishmash of fallouts of greedy buggers. Well, agreed, indeed.
Yeah.
And what's in Normans and Romans? No Man's Land. Where's that coming for? Are you having a chat about here? I'm just scanning the room, like, seeing what's going on. Easy to Sister K. I spoke with teachers last week.
Long time no see, speak.
She says
I can't see anything, by the way, Kay. So I'll have to play this back and look at the comments room.
She says she's
actually just to massage my ego. That is, I listen to myself. Sorry.
Some teachers last week, they said they have no idea what the government are playing at. Not happy. Just a business. They're just a business churning out. That's what they're doing.
Private business for profit. Private for profit. That's what it's all about. Everything is they're all being shafted. It's ridiculous.
Through the birth certificate, because we're under something called Admiralty Law, which brings in the Colonial Courts of Admiralty Act 1890 and the Interpretations Act, which brings in the body corporate.
Oh, yeah. Look at him go. See, look at you go. Go on, lad. Get in, man.
Steady on. Steady on.
Happen you might mention.
Hold a bit back.
Bosh. See, this is what I mean. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Honda 404. It appears, the warring financiers of 1066, which was basically done and dusted in the background pre-battle, was to agree from Anglo-Saxon nobles and others to let a part of land, no man's land. So yeah,
Rome
I'm going
took
to
over
say,
that one as well.
I'm going to say something about the land tenure and something. I found some stuff, interesting stuff about the 1066. Yeah,
Sorry,
and
Dan.
what happened and land and something about land tenure and other stuff in there. It's interesting. You guys are. I love you. The scribers are just very sharp and knowledgeable there. But yeah, Anglo-Saxon nobles and others, no man's land, need more information. Yes, indeed. Nice one, Honda. Respect. Preach it, Shadow from Jonesy to you. Preach
Yeah.
it, Shadow.
Yes, well.
Gangster.
And we look at the bloody the Insolvency Act and the Bankruptcy Act and the SPVs as well. They just like it says bonds on there that they're trading your birth certificates.
Yeah.
That's what your bonds are. They're part of the banknote program.
Promises to pay, yeah. This is our wealth. For mineral, is it the share of the mineral and energy resources? This is what others ask me. Where does it come from? What is money? Where is it, man? And they're like, these bonds that you say, well, if there is no money and you've got the Bankruptcy Act going off, Dave, then why? How is gold money and where does it come from? And it's like, well, it's the biblical bonding and the ecclesiastical side and the corporations raping the planet because we've abandoned our positions and the wealth resources of this country and monarchy are based on our sweat equity. So, like the bankers, with the creation of money and the perpetual debt and fractionalized reserve banking that you're mentioning there, amongst others, James, it's all tied into a den of deceit, and it really is an interesting world once you open your eyes.
And
so
everything requires a signed nature to get something when it already belongs to you.
The gold is then the private assets, the wealth, mineral from all the greed and the collecting. This gold is what is there to be claimed, is our claim of right. And that's why the big gangster Daddio, Bull Papil, Master, Francis de Sisi of the Papal Seas, you see, currency. Oh, the sea boat people. We've been invaded by boat people.
Electricity as well.
Clever. Well, yeah, electricity. Me and Delone was on about that just the other day. Cities. You have a city, and in there that's connected to electricity, energy again, charges, discharge. You're on about watermarks as well, electricity. Denotation of the denotation, of the currency, going through the paper, which is then the watermark, which is the currency there. So the private gold there, Vatican, Francis de Sisi, head of Grand Master Mafioso. Sorry, Italian family, but this is how we've seen it and found it. And then the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland funnels and keeps the. Is it that one? It might not be. I'm tired, but one of them.
Your IMF as well, IMF Bank as well.
Wait, sweat equity collection though. There's collection of the what's going off now with the council tax and the PCNs and the charges and the VAT and all of this bullshit that we've got with these paper promissory notes that we're trading within our wallets and the coins. Those fine fees, forfeits, taxes, VATs, and this public sweat equity finally ends up that way, which is why it's never had a mother war put on its ass, isn't it? It's one of the rarest, only places that hasn't had a war. Is it Canada and Switzerland, or one of them, just Switzerland, where the Basel, it's coming back to me, BIS and that's where your sweat equity conglomerate wealth goes, and such other and offshore tax havens. We've mentioned a few of them before, lest we not forget, Kev. And then you've got Vatican as well, and those accounts here, there are something like 19 accounts that the Vatican manage, and I haven't got proof of this, but I've heard of quite a few speakers over the last 10 years, and these 19 accounts would would have enough. Each one would have enough in to pay the world debt over 8 times over and have billion surplus. And there's 19 of these fuckers kicking around, and it's like, all right then. So this misery and heartache and pestilence and suffering and everything else and austerity and Brexit shuffling and oh no, there's no agreement and we can't pay everything and oh, we've run out of money. You know, oh, wow. Fuck's sake.
It's
such
fair,
a fuck up. It is,
Just put some more digits in like you normally do. What's the problem?
Write some more checks.
We have
which
ministers.
They do.
Stop it.
Banks
we have
extend
ministers.
Credit.
You have ministers, exchequers, you know, the foreign ministers and the councils of and the European and the wow. And none of these monkeys can successfully put something together in this because we're in a system of perpetual debt, greed and cyclical consumption. And when somebody wants to break out of it, they're going to want paying for it. And that's why I don't fully get it. I don't think there's anybody on this landmass that understands our money system and our political system and what's happening in Brexit. I don't even think there's a newspaper out there that could articulately give an accurate, you know, concise summarization of what's about to happen in the next few weeks. And if we're going to have medicine, if we're going to have diesel and petrol, if we're going to have any water supplies, and if the main plant manufacturers are all just going to shut down and basically a massive recession will hit and they'll use that, then, you know, we need to be prepared for every eventuality. We're not scaremongering, but just the fact that we're in this shite state of affairs and we're on YouTube chatting about it is a crime to man. They've let us down. The trust has been breached and we need to think about options. You know, bosh. Don't wait for them. There's no, you know,
it's all
pensions, all this money. Listen, all this money we're paying in now for these tax credits and everything, and the PAYE and all that I'm paying in by sweat equity and using the voluntary servitude and everything. You know, when you come to get old and you come to get your pension, you know, there's restrictions and limitations on that. Never mind the fact you might have paid in £2 million or I don't know, realistically 80,000, 128,000. 500,000, whatever you've paid in due to your intake and you know, income as they call it, then you should get that all back for your pension. They shouldn't be saying, oh well, you live with somebody now and they've got X amount of savings and yeah, you've paid in $500,000 in taxes and in your income tax, but you're not getting that $500,000 back. We're only going to give you 100 grand and we're going to give you that, and it's like, but hang on a minute, these weren't where did I sign up to this? Where did we agree for all these, you know, administrative changes along the way? Oh well, we you know, it's parliamentary and everybody agreed to it, and it's normal. It's normal, you know, for us to take your money. It's quite normal. Oh help!
I just want to do that. I don't want to take on a £5,000 gorilla. You know what I mean? Just. That's what it is. The big £5,000 gorilla, and it's just it's there to infuriate you.
Can't we have the bank of shadow, and you start printing, and we'll work. You know what I mean? We could actually, like others have done, and we need to seriously think about the options. If we have got thumbprints and autographs and the rights to discharge, and we're all bankrupt, and there is no money, and it's only credit from the creditors, and that's all that banks do, and we need to ascertain how to become, in legal terms, the creditor, move out of the public and go into the private, never to have the liabilities and assumptions and presumptions placed upon us. That's quite an easy thing to do, which would then tie in with your claim of right and your asset management. So we have come a long way, and now what we need to do is think about the general that we need to go and say, I believe there's a bit of paper that I'm missing for my office, and Mr. Registrar General.
You do need to get your affidavits in place, and
the Registrar General. What does he do? You know, there's a place in Liverpool here. She said to me when I rung up for the creditor's certificate, I asked if I could collect it from the court when she was, you know, doing an administrative function on the telephone as my agent that day, and I said, so David would like to come down and obtain the creditor's certificate that was produced when the claim of right was handed over to the bondsman by my unbeknown parents at the time in 1978. I don't want the person's birth certificate. That belongs to the debtor, and I've got that here. I said the creditor's one that the bondsman will have created when he created the entry in the book when a claim of right went over from my old man And my
There's
mum,
2 dates.
yeah.
You know about the 2 dates of birth, don't you, David?
Yeah, I told you about. Well, I told there's when you're born, there's a certificate of birth, and then when you're registered, there's a birth certificate. And when you're born, the certificate of birth has the surname attached to it because then they'll say, "Oh, what's the baby's name?" And they'll say, "I don't know." And they'll say, "It doesn't matter. Well, we'll get it on registration then." And so they just create the certificate of birth at that point, take the footprint, blood, pinprick, weight, all of that, and send it off to statisticians and whatnot. And then you go for the registry later on after the born date, which is their birth date, certificate of birth, and then you go and do the registration. So I'm born May 9. Yeah, that's it. I was born in the May and on the 9th. I don't know my year or anything. It's hearsay. We just say, I don't know my date of birth, just born May 9th. You don't have to say it all, you know what I mean? But your person has a born date, which is that certificate of birth on the born date, May the 9th, 1978, say, for argument's sake. And then when you register, that's a separate date. And on the registration date, the birth certificate is created. And so you have the registration date of not the 9th of May, it might be the 30th of May. So the registration date, the 30th
That's when the creditor was registered.
That's when they create the creditor certificate at that part, when the claim of right is handed over to the bondsman appointed in office as the registrar under the registrar general, and the attorney general manages the courts. Don't get that mixed up.
Yeah, that's where it'll be in the Royal Courts of Justice, man. That's where it'll be. You'll have to go down that route.
No, there's a court that you can go to so that you see. I mentioned before, didn't I?
Yeah,
forgot already. You forgot my words already that I said you need chancery. You don't need higher court. You don't want the privy courts or the high privy courts. You'd want the chancery division because, as I've said, yeah. And then which chancery court would you need, and how would you get in there, and which language do you speak, and what do you claim? And if you claim, have you got proof of claim? You can't go somewhere and start shouting the odds to grandmasters in chancery and not have anything to back that shit up.
Yeah.
You're going to be in for a rough ride. So,
short, sharp lesson there.
You need to know. And then once you know, they've put it out there for you to find. And once you find it and you're sure about it, then you know who's who and what's what. And you know you're in an army, your children in an army, they can't even go and have a wee or a poo. They're not allowed. It's been dead. Sorry, computer says no. System says no. It's bad enough. It's like, hang on a minute.
No
they're going
way.
to suffer harm. They're going to suffer injury. They're bullying, harassment, everything. Let alone getting tummy ache because you kept a trump in at the age of 12 and you didn't want to be picked on because you're not English, and that's bad enough because you already got a rough ride. And God forbid anybody ever have an accident. And
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's more than unnecessary. It's outrageous as far as I'm concerned. As I say, I wouldn't part with any of it. I'd be polite about it. I know, in my head I'd have a spaz, but I wouldn't have any of it. I'd go down, correct it straight away. I'm not having any of that. Let me tell you right now.
Right, it's just like I said before as well. Assertion. It's like the judicial realm, knowing who the F you are.
Yeah,
knowing who man is and who
I'd
is
go and tell them who my kids were as well.
Yeah, so this again helps it because your cognitive key competence, of which we're given to you passively for free and in documents and whatever way else we can, is what you need, because once you've got that, you will provide the own remedy for yourself, and come tested upon it, you'll be able to stand on it yourself without anything else and be able to say, and it's simple enough, at some point.
Yeah.
Shit's gone wrong and we're trying to correct it fast while you still can.
Yeah.
If there is
goes a long way as well. If once you know who you are, you could move mountains.
Yeah, and if there is a need for discipline, say that our kid does something and she gives the teacher some lip, or we get a report from the academy and it says this lateness or forgetfulness, and it's all added up and it's getting to be a concern, then let us know. If there's been a bit of a situation of which somebody needs to have a word and make said daughter aware of her actions, well, we can do that. There doesn't need to be discipline. You don't need. This is the realm. This is why we've got such a violent realm, because we introduce.
You tell us what's happened, and we'll deal with it. We're the parents.
The fact I got rasped at school with a ruler, and others. I think I do remember getting a bit of a cane at some point, but not much. But there were others. I had stories from bigger lads and that, and I was lucky that we escaped it. But there were some ruthless headmasters. We had listen to this, and I can say this because it's true then. So at Meadowhead School in Sheffield, there was, when I was there, I left in 94. So previous to 1994, there was a headmaster there whose name I forget, who had a reputation for being a ring piece of an aggressive man. And he used to really dole out the punishments, and he used to love it. He used to shout and spit. He used to lock you in there, and he used to have a real, you know what I mean? He used to properly be known for it. I was new to the school, and he used to try and like give me stories about it. And he was an ex-boxer. Trustee of a school. This is what they employ. This is the system at hand. So you want to be a headmaster, dear? And you imagine him at the interview. So what have you done before? Well, I've done a bit of welding. I've done, I've got some administrative such and such. I've taught in my spare time for a hobby, and I'm an active, professional amateur boxer. Okay, yes, okay, boxer, blood sport, hey, okay, round children. Doesn't seem the right temperament to normal sovereign governance. If we had a sovereign academy here and we was recruiting for teachers, and we was looking at holding interviews, at that interview where we had the steering wheel committee or the board of whoever we've got interviewing at the time, the assembly there, they wouldn't, I know for a fact, they wouldn't employ anybody that was boxing or had a blood sport as a hobby, as a teacher or a headmaster, a governor. You'd employ someone else who had a more caring, empathetic, so the fact that Meadowhead School, previous to 1994, had that, and I'm glad I can't remember his name, because I'll probably get done, but it's not defamation of character or slander. I'm using that man's position and his previous boxing influence as a kingpin point to say, so why would anybody give a man like that a job as a governor in a school when you could need to be the opposite, not violent and aggressive, but when you got there and you got a bollocking, he loved it. He roasted me for a few times, and I was like, wow, you're just sadistic. He was real like, I hoped he'd have an heart attack, to be fair, because I'm just laughing at him. There's no need for it, and he really thrived on it, really loved it. And the PE teachers were always known for doing what? Exactly. Why was that? Why was 90% of our PE teachers all a bit gay and like looking at boys in showers? That was, that was incredible. It wasn't
That's even because the ones mine were priests.
I'm telling you, Kev, everybody on Tube, I don't need to tell you. You will tell me in the chat room. Everybody knew a PE teacher that got done or suspended for being a so again, in the interview, it turns out
they got promoted. They got promoted in my school.
Yeah, well, I've been once done for looking at children and having kiddie porn, but it was only the once. I've not done it since. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I haven't been caught since.
We believe you. You've got the job. We trust you. And it's just like wow. And yet we just say, oh, well, it's the blue that's done it. The Conservatives. We need a bit of Labour. They'll fix it. And
no,
by the same
please,
get rid of them agents.
Let me die.
Jeremy will
I
save
want
us.
to leave
everybody.
the planet.
Yeah,
okay?
Jeremy Corbyn will save us. Yeah,
I want to leave the planet if that happens. I really do. Right, that's it. I'm ready. Here's my number.
Of Hamas and Mend and all them.
I'm ready to leave.
All them extremist groups,
How did we go from Jeremy Corbyn to Hamas and extremist groups? Continue on. I like it.
That was smooth. You smooth bastard. How did you pull that off?
they're all in the same pot, pushing in the same agenda. No matter what, if you got a beard or a fish hat on,
a herring brooch.
Yeah. The Club of Rome, or you work for the military as an elite officer. That's what it translates into, fam. Yes.
Yeah, going back to the hall, right, let me tell everybody out there, tell your kids, the people that are the hall monitors at school, right, stay away. They're going to be the grasses. They're proper Nazis. They'll tell right throughout life, stay away from them. They're dangerous people. They're already want to tell on you and will go and have authority and think they have authority. Stay away from them.
They are the future debt collectors and parking
That's
ticket
exactly what they
enforcement
are.
officers. They will be working at such areas as, yes.
And they've got no mates. That's why they're in there monitoring the hall.
They went to Kev school and they had an
Because there's no point going out to play because they ain't got no friends.
And they all join the police force because they get bullied.
Oh, don't. Steady on about the police. Be careful there.
Yes, it's a gang, you see. You know, if something happened to you, Kev or Shadow, I'd like to think you'd let me know and say, Dave, look, this has happened. I know who it is, and I've got some options here, and there's no rule that says once there has been an incident in your life where you've suffered common law injury or statutory infraction upon your consumer rights or something, there's no rule that says you are obliged to go and report it to the police. You are obliged to go and report if you see a murder or something or anything like that, because they are the current controllers and rank and file officers that are outside to control the social network. So yes, you do need to report and etc. like when you see somebody else, but for yourself, you're not actually with 90%, I would say 95% of what could happen to you, forced to go and run and inform another society about your private affairs. Okay, you are allowed to choose to rectify them in your own private capacity. And I would argue that, like we've said with the trusts, where there is a ecclesiastical side of them, there's a legal, public, statutory, constructed side of them, and then there's your lawful one. So, like with everything else, there's like a 3 option. You've got that 3 option yourself, haven't you? You know, you don't have to run and inform and grass upon, and because you are an informant, right? So you're informing a private corporation. We used to think they were there to, and this is our problem, officers and constables, what we have at the minute. We thought you was our friends and you was going to help us. But when we come to you, you try to see what you can get from us and how you can go it the other way. And it's not nice, you know, the words, the language. If it's not a crime, what I'm saying is, why are you getting on it, man? Why is man locked up if it isn't a crime? It's a sad state of affairs, because you look at it as a business, like the government pretends to be a body corporate, then, James, for want of better, and that body corporate pertains to be something physical that is there for our benefit, but really it's something physical that is usurping us and taking away and stripping our rights and assets before our very eyes as the Conservative Party disbands before us, and the United Kingdom looks like it's hurtling to, when I say that, I mean the trust, not the landmass, but we're on the landmass and we're not part of that. So Sexit, Sovereign's exit in the UK, is basically exporting you and your person out of that realm before the brown stuff hits the fan.
Well, yeah, we'll get a true exit once we get the.
Once
we've evolved.
Oh yeah, you could just put the Attorney General on note. Do a free.
Once we've evolved,
hand in your resignation.
Was that Attorney General, another military office, eh?
Yeah.
Registrar General. Oh,
even the police and military combatants are not even built up of their foreign corporate entity on Dun and Bradstreet.
Listen,
absolutely.
The police, what do you think a rank and file officer, what do you have ranks of? You have ranks of military, army and combatants and tanks, ranks and, rank and file. You have a rank in an army, a ranking officer. This is what I mean. We're not bullshitting you. We're not doing it to get you scared and so you come to join us and think, we haven't got the answer to everything. What we're saying is we're fast realizing that we've been a bit sheepy.
We've got some bloody good questions, though, to ask, haven't we?
Yeah.
We might not have all the answers, but we've got some bloody good questions you can ask people.
Yeah, and we've got pretty good evidence to use counterclaim and set off.
Absolutely,
that's what it says in the CPR rules.
Yeah.
In 20, I think it's CPR 24 3A. That's what it says in the court practice Don't take my word for it. Read it for yourself.
Well, at this moment, I am going to take your word for it. Bloody hell.
I can't see the chat room now. I've come out for a ciggy, so chat room, you have to look after yourselves.
I'll get the chat room. I'm on my other phone. See if
it. You're a good egg, Jay. You're a good egg.
Actually, I'm sitting here making fun of you with two. I've got two phones on the go myself at the moment.
It's not a competition, Kev.
Yeah, it might be. I might put my laptop on and win.
I'll get smart TV, laptop, 2 phones,
tablet,
an iPad.
Mate,
PS4, Xbox. Let's have it all.
I'd either just get you can get your own meter and stuff, and just get someone to fit it. So you're right. This is like,
what's that? A Fitbit smart meter for electric and gas? Are you kidding me?
No. I'd never go. I just don't want a smart meter. You can get your own meter.
One.
It's like if you watch. I know you're not a fan of him, but like it's Mark Ceylon, right? He can. He tells
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I'm just dead. I'm just like. I'm not in this to take sides or or create any conflicts of interest.
It's just him and Dave having a bit of a spat. No, I'd say I haven't had a lot of interaction with the fella, but yeah, I've seen this that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's probably got some credible things to say, and I don't discredit any of his topics or what he said, but man to man, we could have liaised better and got.
He seems a bit moody, man to man.
Honor. I don't have an ego. I've become the biggest idiot going, and it doesn't do the movement much good. Me not having an ego and coming out in Armani suits and setting a nice backdrop and composing a pre-constructed, non-heartfelt, robotic speech. I'm not like that. I'm not saying Mark is either, but there is a degree of honourability amongst anybody that's in this movement, and the obligation to share your findings and to cooperate and to join forces as the brotherhood of man and get along. And with regards to those names that I've mentioned in previous videos and seminars and moots and meetings and free thinkers that I've been to, because I'm outspoken and I like to make friends with everybody and I see the good in everybody, I'm a bit full on. And I chat a bit, but I've got a good heart, and I'm really focused.
Of course, you have, David, man.
And I think it intimidates others. And sometimes, I get stuff wrong, and I make mistakes. And God Lord, an ADHD, dyslexic, hyperactive, whatever you want to label me as, I don't see myself as that, but according to the realm, that's it. I'm not, like others, but that's a good thing, because look what
it is a good thing.
Where we are, but we are meant to be, and others, I don't know, they don't welcome you so much. And when you make comments on tube channels, when you're in my Facebook trust and family, and you're accusing me of shit and saying if you listen to this man you'll get lock up, I'm like, fuck's sake, oh wow, if you're still on my friends list and everything, no personal message, no heads up, no hey up Dave, I think you might have got something wrong here, or I think you might be you copying my videos, lad, or you're trying to be like me, or things that were being slung around. And I was like, this is defamation of character, slander, libel, all this. And I thought, this is dirty, I'm getting out. What, we were friends. So it's it then builds up to further things after that. And I just thought I'll tell everybody that there's been a bit of political upfest, and I wasn't wanting to make
people are arseholes, mate.
We've come along and said about the trust technology.
Get used to it.
And the set law, creditor, A for V, signatures, etymology. And then I was like, with these guys, so where have you been? What's your angle? Oh, we don't like the trust. So I'm like, but these are the key. This trust and equity runs parallel to common law. If John Harris knew about
this, under the Judicator Acts.
If John Harris knew about this, we'd be light years ahead now. We wouldn't be picking it up. If back in the day John Harris had said trust and equity, straw man, in amongst that straw man and fiction, and talked about principal trustees and the fact that the Magna Carta was effectively a trust, and the barons were trustees. And when a trust is dissolved and collapsed, you can't call upon it. But we didn't know that it was dissolved and collapsed. So we was trying to get David Robinson and the Lawful Rebellions and Dissent and that going, yes, and it works, and it's constitution, and the Justin thingy, and whatever his name is now, Tom Crawford and everybody at UK Column and Garish and that going, yes, constitution is the way. And we led down that path, and we thought, well, we're not getting anywhere. People's cars are getting, iron horses getting collected up, and fines, fees, and forfeits. Your man's got locked up for owing council tax and paid to get out, and you still got the gall to tell me that the constitution bullshit's going to work. No, it's not. So we go into a court and say, I am not the debtor. I'm not the surety, and I want to see your oath. I don't have an international treaty. We had nothing effective to come back and rebut the presumptions of law or anything of substance. And we were just causing damage and vexating judges. And it was like backwards mentality. Then when I said to them about the mixed jurisdiction on the get out of debt free org conditional free letter process acceptance by putting notice agent principal, notice principal agent, and then going on to mention public contract law, that's a mixed jurisdictions on some paper, which then nullify the whole notice, because you've confused, like with the dogma and the glossa and the corruption of text.
That's one, you know it, David.
It's a fucking big game, and these boys should have been on it. So yes, they don't like me, and yes, there is some friction, because this is just a joke, and if Harris, bless his cotton socks, had have had half of this back then, we wouldn't be here now. We'd have been light years in front. We'd have done everything we needed to. You know what I mean? And we've been retarded, and our children, our assets are now being retarded, and it's just getting beyond the joke. And we got to chat about this. That's what we're here doing now.
Absolutely. I yield. How long? No, it's crazy what's going on. It's a long road for all of it. I don't know. It's exasperating at times, isn't it? But that everything that's going on, frightening.
Man's getting thicker. They really are. Really are getting thicker.
And more people are waking up to this as well.
Yeah.
Who sacked him, and
slowly, unfortunately. But they are. You are right. But you couldn't have a room, 10, 20 people and try and talk to them all. You could. It really is. A lot of this is one-on-one stuff.
I've got some news to give you. I got some good news. On Monday, this Monday, going to the chat on Sun and Moon, and it was going to be about the .com and the 100th monkey principle, and the .com functionality, the community, the education, the key competence, the resource library, the member social network that we've got going on, spls.com, and then we were just going to try and endorse and go through that and get through some key aspects of the site and the community and what we're doing and why we've built it. And she's only gone and had a word with this bloke, brother Josh, and he works with this bloke called Martin Kenny, and on a hangout with Martin and Josh on Sun and Moon, and some bad news come through of Anne-Marie's dad passing as I was on the hangout. So I had to eject myself from the room, and enough said about that. And then I've had this message from Karen and the hangout, and she says that Josh is interested in popping in and saying hello. And
nice.
Yeah, I said,
when's that, Monday?
Says, on this Monday on Sun and Moon. She says he wants to come in and make himself known. Like he had a good chat with you on the hangout, but you had to get off. So she says, are you all right for him to join in, come and say hello, and chat about, just get to know him. So I've got his number. He's got my number. I mean, he sent me a message, and so I chatted to him today, and it's going to be incredible. He's a real good intellective mind, spiritual mind, and he seems definitely like one of us. So I don't know him from Adam, except a brief encounter via video and telephone. But what I've psycho-evaluated from him from the call and chat, and I dare say we're doing the same to me, is I'm very excited. And after the Sun and Moon, I'll see if he wants to come on to Indy, and by that time Stowe Villa should have answered by my email that I've sent him, and then I'll get
Yeah.
Kev on. Shadow, you can come on if you want. And
Yeah, man, I love joining your
I'll have some of that.
indie glow.
Yeah, and we'll have an etymology, and we'll go word mental. We'll go literally word
governmental. And I
Mm.
mentioned that I've been watching this geezer, Matrix Solutions. He talks about what the Magna Carta actually is. It's even that's a it was set up by them for them, not for you. And this is how they brought legislation, and then
That's an
brought in
intelligent
the
man
trust
saying it,
technology, the Adjudicator Acts, Admiralty Law. This is why the police wear blue.
Is it Adjudicator Act of 1872 by any chance? Something like that? Are we on about?
Yeah, I watched a bit of
listen
Richard
to
as
you
well.
two, you pair of tarts.
Yes,
I watch a bit of Richard as well, man. I try and tie it all together. Richard, bit of Richard Answer. I love him. He tells you what notary publics are as well. It's in the one of the acts that you could either.
So witnesses, go on, carry on. No, notary publics is acts.
Because he's done that commercial Leon thing as well, where you just sign up and watch it on repeat, and then I watch it on repeat and try and take it in because I'm dead photographic memory. That's how I.
So notary public, they are what people just know as notaries, where you go down and get a document notarized, or they will witness.
Yeah, that's all they do. Witness the signing of your hand.
Yeah. So we have the Ratification of Faith Act that we've talked about before, by having the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit present as the three witnesses, and then you being the bondsman of Christ, or the set law creditor coming in the name of Christ, which means taking only the Christian name. So you've got the Ratification of Faith Act. I don't know what, I can't get the year on that one. And then you've got the fact you could also have in one, I've put on the .com some passages of scripture, previous brothers, family scribers, passages that say that Jesus is there saying that if you've got two witnesses there, two men present, they will serve as witnesses. So I can even give you not just the three witnesses as the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, which they will cannot, rebut or even deny. They've got to recognize that in the Christian country, and then the actual passages from the Bible which say, this is how witnesses work, basically, in a primitive, biblical, honourable way. So you'd reference that, and they can't deny it. But notary publics are part of the Law Society, lest we not forget, and they're part of a gang, and they operate, and they're Masonic. Not all of them, but they will be.
You want to keep away from those entities.
Choose what you want to do. What you want to do, but just be aware of what you are doing and why and whom with. That's it, isn't it? That's the key. But
he talks about NOIs and SORs as well. Statements of it and notice of interest.
And what are they? They're let's explain that to the family. So if you get a PCN coming through, this comes under the doctrine of notices, and that lies at the heart of equity. So these notices, you've just said NOI and SOI, are operating under what? A doctrine. What doctrine?
Excuse me, people.
They're operating under a doctrine of notices, and the NOI is a notice. There you go, under that doctrine. So the notice of interest and a statement of intent, did you say? Or interest? Which one did you say there? Statement of intent or statement of interest?
Yeah, and the notice of interest and
statement of intent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Notice of interest and statement of effect, a statement of intent. Yeah.
We need to get this right. This is key important, because some people put statement of interest and some people put statement of intent. You need to get it right. Which one it is?
No, it's statement of intent, because you're stating what you intend. So it's statement of intent.
So a notice, a PCN, or something like a debt collector's letter, not just a PCN, a debt collector's letter, a liability order coming through, but not at the liability order stage, but liable actions, litigation of sorts, we'll call it, is happening. And these are the notices that come through the litigation. They miss the mitigation. You're in hospital ill, you've been away, you couldn't get to, answer the office mail because of a genuine reason. They haven't been informed. The pre-action protocols have taken over. The House wins 9 times out of 10. The assumptions and presumptions are all there. So they're just collecting. And you come back and find out you've missed a month or 2 months council tax and a PCN. You're not a criminal, but the office administration has gone tits up. And in the meantime, they've assumed a lot of things, and now you've got thousands of pounds to pay out. So you need to sort this out. And when you need to sort that out, it takes a long time, and you've done nothing wrong, and they don't listen, and they treat you with contempt, and you have to do so much work. So they've put this in place. It's none of our doing, but the fact that we've acquiesced to it through mitigating circumstances, it's where we come in, because if there wasn't splspro.com and the work that we do, then I don't know where we'd be going in 10 years or 20 years. This government and the way it works, we've got enough on it to show you that
we'll be getting forced microchipped if it wasn't for you, David.
No, shut up. That's coming anyway.
Yeah.
Stop that. We've probably already got it in the nanotechnology in the grey gloop, but don't go there. Self-replicating robots do exist, and the micro technologies. I've talked about the machines that they're making in the war scenario that feed on biological fuels. So when they're collecting up dead bodies and stuff and body parts, they can operate off that as well. I'm like, why would you make a technology like that? Why would you? Again,
mad.
It is.
Children are our technology. The children are our technology in the valuable future, and they know that, and that's why they manipulate it. We shouldn't have them. We shouldn't have. That's
why they're fucking them up.
Yeah, we should be educating them wholesomely somewhere else. That would be ideal. We need to take back the power in many areas of our lives.
We need to start schools, sovereign schools. That's what we need.
We've got SPLs Junior ready to go, and a website and a back page, and we're building up and collecting. This is why we're asking for ambassadors and councils and steering wheel committees and everything like that, diplomats and just everything, so we can put stuff together and manage it equally. Trustees and beneficiaries and settlers are put into one side, and actual just concentrating on the community and what's important to us and what we have.
Well said.
Yeah, man. I absolutely agree there. Just everything's been done by design. If you read the Silent Water Quiet Weapons, that's a pretty scary document. StopTheCrime.net. I've been watching her as well, that Deborah Tavares. She talks about 5G and what it is and how they're killing off the water supply through chemtrailing. And
I'm not being funny, but I'm glad I'm moving towards the end of my days. I'm not being funny.
You've got these helmets. You've got these helmets now that they're wearing for these gaming things, PS4 helmets and that, and 3D experiences, and they've got like visors on the lasers on the retina. You've got laser on the retina, Wi-Fi radiation around your brain, and you've got all these, things, flashes and everything going off, and it's like you can only play on them for a certain amount of time. And I'm worried about that technology and what it's doing. And
I don't think it's done me any favours. I don't think it's doing my head any favours. I'm in very close proximity to all that in my place. And I have been, don't forget, I've been virtually in the house for 11 years nearly. So, and my mental health got worse, as you're aware, Dave. So, especially recently. So I've been really thinking about that, just going back to Ethernet, just take the wireless out.
It's better
just I'm close enough.
Turn it off at
it's
night.
just
if you're
convenient.
not using it, turn the Wi-Fi off at night. If you're all asleep, just turn it off and plug it.
Someone told me you can just put tinfoil around the room and it just kills off the Wi-Fi.
I don't know. It probably will.
Stop it.
Build a Faraday cage for it.
You don't use tinfoil for nothing. It's just wrong. It's wrong for the environment. It doesn't get recycled. It's just bullshit. You cook your food in tinfoil, and particulates go into your food. Micro particulates as well. They know.
Yeah, and you don't want that in your body because you'll have to use what is it now? Activated coconut activated charcoal because it gets rid of all your heavy metals. I watch a lot of Santos as well, man. Santos, and he talked about the charts, the healing, and what he's good at as well. I love a bit of Santos, and he's and you spoke to Violet as well. She's good with these potions and stuff, and about. See, I'm all over the internet, mate. I've got it all right. See, I don't like to just look at like one specific thing because, like, if I get stuck in one thing, I get disillusioned and bored, and I just want to find something that.
Yeah, I jump around all over the place when I'm looking at stuff. Keep it interesting.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. And
you can have you try too much of one thing is just does your head in the end. You just get like, oh my god, I'm sick of this now.
Mm-hmm. But I do enjoy.
That's why I like injecting a bit of fun in it as well. You know, that's why I like having a bit of a laugh. I think you have to because it's hard work. All this stuff.
It's not
it really
nice
is.
what we do. It's not nice what's happened. When you wake up to it, it's quite a. Yeah, it's not just like we go David Icke on you and then just go see you goodbye and that's it. Yeah, there is ways out and solutions.
If only.
Yeah.
Solution. Patience comes. Solutions come with patience, man. You've got to have the patience.
Yeah. It turned me into a mental patient.
You're losing the fear though, like he says on Star Wars, the fear leads to hate. They've got it down to a T, and they even tell you. I know Master Yoda is not to be taken seriously, but fear leads to hate leads to anger leads to the dark side. That's when you start practicing bondage in your bedroom and shit. When you think, oh, nothing can satisfy me. Sorry to go on a tangent, but bondage in itself. I do
mine on the patio.
No comment. But bonds and stocks and bonds, there they are again, and the multiple etymological. What I'm going to talk about with brother Josh is the etymological linkages and the D-based language that Romley's been on about with the glossa and the dogma and the Latin. The hieroglyphs, which are basically the all capital text, the non-integration of all of that, and the foreign association, the capitalization of the name. I've got one company writing to me as Mr. David, and that's it. I got a little letter come through the other day into the office, and it said, Mr. David. I thought, you idiots, you're trying to be fucking clever, but you've affixed the title before the Christian name. I told you, I'm not the fiction. I'm the representative and authorized agent in office. And to be clever, you thought you'd write to Mr. David. Well, there is a title between the name David, before the name, prefixed is there, and it says Mr. So that's a title that I do not wish to claim. So it looks like it's a good one, Mr. David. You're like, oh, well, there's no surname, but there is a title. They're still playing games, look, and it's like, wow.
They just put something there, Mr. J.P. Doe, and presumably you're that fictitious agent, which they want to create a contract to make you liable for the debts, but people do
you won't have any documentation for that person they make up, though, will you?
Well, hang on. Well, where's the claim that I'm that name? I'm just the representation, giving forth the giving forth that you have giving forth that you have a claim when you don't. But if you have a claim, I will pay. But if there's no claim, there's no need to pay. But I'll pay with my promises.
Mm-hmm.
Swing it around. Just try and catch him one way or another. But like they're trying to create a contract with you. That's the whole principle of it.
Yes, it is. Tacitly, subject to torts, tacit
Joinder.
indecision. Yeah, but contract,
Yeah.
though, when you say contract, this is what did me in, because we all know contract involves the meeting of the minds and signatures, autographs, two of them, and agreements. An agreement is different because it's a constructed
Yeah.
agreement, isn't it? A
Yeah, it's a
contract is
single
not. So
signature.
so this contract law, say your phone rings and you answer it, and it's your phone provider and network provider, and they say you're due an upgrade, and you agree to get a new handset on a new contract, and you put the phone down. That comes into play and is legal, and you get the new handset and enter into a new contract, and we consider that contract law. But it's not contract law because they've rang you up, they've constructed the agreement, they've proposed the terms, and you've said yes. So that's not a contract, but it is viewed as a contract within the legal realm under contract law, which is really just bizarre. But I get it, but it's just more bullshit within bullshit.
You know you're doing it though, don't you? That's the worst thing. You're sitting there, you're doing this thing, and you think, "Well, I really want to be sticking this to you because I know what's going on here, but I need the phone."
Rewind selector. When the phone rings, that's a company that's operating as an agent capacity, and that's an agent for you who's operating as your agent in commerce and operating on a deal, and you're giving the say so with what testamentary using your voice. Your voice is what's being operated. The authority comes from the vocabulary that you spit out to them over the phone. You go through the security, you agree the terms, and you consent. And you say yes. So this is where the power is. You don't need a pen. You don't need so much the courts. You have the power right there over the phone to create a legally binding contract. Pardon the terminology, but we've gone through that, and then that stands in law legally. So that shows you that just if you make an agreement with a man in a pub, and there's witnesses to that agreement, that's just as good as a legal contract. That's what we're saying. So if we go one step further, and we make an agreement with not in a pub, we make an agreement in a private, venue, and we all with witnesses to that, and we provide documentation to that. That's in law, and when you've done it in law with witnesses in law, not legal, not ecclesiastical, nothing trumps that. So why don't we all just sidestep grassing ourselves up and informing ourselves to a foreign foreign what you call it society as such, all of them, and form our own and manage our own in law and leave the legal to one side because it doesn't really benefit any of us ever. It's their system for their society, and we use it under non-disclosure and deception. And when we find out about it, they all just run and leave the courtroom. Oh, I'm legging it. What do you mean you're legging it? I've just kicked your ass and you're legging
it. Where are you
going? Get back here.
They're going for a quick McVitie
This is why you need to go. This is why you need to go mob-handed to court. You'd have to have people sequestered around, none of you talking to each other, so that once you got in there, you could get them to hold the doors shut, so nobody escapes.
Well, if they run off, just leave a bill on the desk. There you go. I'm off.
Very much.
He's stoppable, mate. He's stoppable by default.
There's no honour there. There is no honour. So when you go down, you're not going to go down and take down the system. You're going to go down and try and discharge the charges and prevent summary judgment and not create contracts anyway.
Which is in CPR. Which is in the CPR rules, David. Section 20, CPR 24, I think. Well, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. What are you on about there? With what reference to what?
To this court book I've got, the civil court practices. It says it in the on the justice site. If you go to section 24 of the CPR, it goes on to summary judgment, which you just mentioned.
Are you looking at a green book or something else?
Yeah, the green book. You know what book it is.
So I thought you might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew what he was talking about.
Yes, Kev.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a copy of that. I don't know what they run out at now.
50 quid on Amazon. You don't like keeping out the book names before buying because everyone buys it before.
James, you're never coming on another hangout again. I said no, we share it all, If anybody
I don't I do like sharing it. I
Other
do like
booksellers
sharing
are
it.
available.
The blue book's very nice for the dad, for the blue for dads. Get the blue
Yeah.
book. Very good.
I'll get the blue book. Do you get the up to date one or the 2011 one or whatever? Or does anything after 1998, if you're doing the
Well, when
CPR
we went
rules?
to Oxford, when Thomas has to go down and be a Mackenzie friend that charges for the
Yeah.
Oxford hearing, we went in 17, and we had green books from 15, and the 2 years that were difference between our copies and the court copies were an extra 4 inches wide in the court copy books to our books. I was like, holy shit, these look like
It's just
pamphlets.
mental, isn't it?
The books that we had about 1,200 pages in. Them books must have been going on about, I don't know, 2,000, 2,500. I'm like, whoa, look at all the editions. And we still managed to wing it, like, obviously, but
Amendments and
Yeah.
it's
blah
just
blah blah and
ridiculous. We don't need that. When you invoke, this is what I'm saying, when you invoke the equitable, what is one of the maxims, number 18 out of 20 of the equitable maxims from the Earl of Oxford, when the ruling of law and equity collide, and if the laws of equity will prevail. So that tells you that they are stronger than common law, which is why we promote what we do. So then when you invoke that should then trump all of the hoo-ha and bullshit that judges don't know. Courts like magistrates, counties, and districts recognise equity, but they might not have the correct jurisprudence, capacity, permissions from chancellors and so forth to deal with it. I don't know. I'm still learning and getting it all myself, but the high courts will, and then that's where you kick it off for the real fun. That's how you've got to do it.
Under the Trustees Act 2000, I think, or 2002.
That governs everything. That's where you get your indications for your legal trusts. Yeah, not your
Yeah.
ecclesiasticals. That's the canons, and the cannibalized ones of the canons govern the ecclesiastical bull papils, creation of the crown, attorney regis, convocation, and all of this. He's done some more where he's proclaimed that something lords or something in 2015 after he did motu proprio in 11. He did a proclamation where I think he declared everybody on the realm, globe, plane, under the Catholic doctrine. There's that word again, another doctrine, the Catholic ecclesiastical doctrine. So whether you be Muslim, rabbi, Jesuit, cardinal,
Hey,
pagan,
no,
atheist, Christian, they think that you're under their doctrine. And as such, that's why they think they've got clean hands in all this legal ecclesiastical bondage crap. And they say, but we've got clean hands. There's a remedy out of it, but you're too thick to see it. So we can sit here in front of God and go, well, we've given them a way out, but they're too thick, the have-nots, to see the way out. So we'll continue to bum and rape and mutilate and steal and pillage until they find the way out. Yeah. And clean hands my arse, to quote Jimmy Oil.
Well, you've got to put the on notice the paperwork precedes the man, doesn't it? Put the line manager on notice.
You do a lot, can't you? Do a lot when it comes to your offspring and what's happening there. It's a bit worrying, to say the least.
it is. That's why you've got to, even on a personal level, you don't have to convince anybody else. Go and do it for your own kids, whatever. Go and make a stand and tell people, especially, like this school thing and all the rest of it. Go and sort it out straight away. Don't let it, I'll be saying it as well. If you ever get asked to have injections at school, you absolutely refuse. Thank you very much. That'd be me as well. No, crazy.
So, like, the doctrine of notices is what you'd use when you notice
Yeah,
the agents and principal trustees at the academies. You'd notice them and tell them,
you could verbally
that.
notice them and then put it in writing. So you could go down and say them straight away. So you haven't got to mess about. Straight down there, do what you got to do. Give them a verbal notice and then tell them, yeah, and you'll get it in writing in the next 3 days or whatever. Fucking have it. Don't mess about with these people. Don't sort your lives out. Change, show what your status, standing, and capacity is. Clarify that straight away, and whose assets are whose and who they belong to. Thank you very much. In the case of children, that is, but in any case, status, standing, capacity. Changes a lot of things.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
You are.
Yeah. That really is, and sticking by it when they're trying to convince you you're not.
Yeah, man.
Especially in the court situation, that's what they like to do. Well, if you don't, then we're going to carry on if you're not here. Really?
They are bloodlines, you see. They are pure bloodlines, and what they've done is kept their
Yeah,
bloodlines pure, and like the tribes of the nations of such things as Israel, and then the rest. What
yeah,
they're doing is they're mixing up all of the bloodlines of the realms. Look, they're doing it with the Arabs, with the blacks, with the whites, with the Anglos, with the Indians. Every nation's bloodlines. When I watched that Muhammad Ali video where he's on about on the Parkinson interview, and he was on about himself in a racial. He was given an interview, but he's a black guy come to fame in a quite a racial background, and he was on about a white man and a black man and a white woman getting together, and the setup socially with that, and it was interesting is the way that he has an outlook on life and how he interpreted that and what he said about his overview on it all. It really opened my eyes up to some extent, that interviewer. I did enjoy it.
yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah.
the interview you're talking about. Yeah, quite
It was
powerful,
quite,
isn't it?
yeah. There's a lot in there. I was like, wow, look at you go. Yeah. What the system that we've got. And he said about the bloodlines though, and he says there's nothing. He said there's no white woman out there that could satisfy me like my black such and such woman of wherever. And he said I'm not going to be taking all that grief. He said there's no. I laughed at it when he said it, and Parkinson said, well, I think we're the same. And he's like, we're not the same. We're not the same at all. I'm a black man. You're a white man. We got different interests. He said, if a Spanish man and a white woman or something, or a French man and a Spanish woman got together, they wouldn't last 2 minutes. He said, because they got different cultures and they got different beliefs and different things. He said, we're not meant to mix like that. And he got all offended and stuff. And I'm like, like the elite keeping it pure. And he's like, God made me like this, and I made me perfect, and I will honor that. And he said, there's a passage in the Bible that says, and there's more than one passage, and it says about the mixture of. And I'm like, I see. They have another sub game where they mix up all the DNA and bloodlines. And me having English, Irish, Greek, Italian is a prime example. And what's happening in Babylon with Europe being mixed up and immigrant and asylum everywhere. It's like, the bloodlines are fully mixed. Another agenda amongst other agendas. And that wasn't made prevalent to me till I watched Muhammad Ali in that interview, and amongst other things. And I was like, wow, okay then, good point made. Stick that
It's
part
funny you
in.
should mention Ali. I watched Joe Frazier kick his ass not long, not many hours ago. I had to watch that tonight. So just there you go, tangent, but
Yeah, legend in many ways, legend and an honourable man in a dishonourable system.
yeah,
You know what I mean? He was in a private capacity and he tried to remain in a private capacity in the public realm as well. He had an alter ego. Cassius Clay, was it? He used, was it
yeah.
Cassius
That
Clay?
was his original
Yeah.
name. He changed it to Muhammad Ali when he converted, didn't he, to Islam?
There's a lot, yeah, a lot. Well, they see what I'm, yeah, and each to their own on the paths, but yeah, the
Yeah.
public and the private is an example of a public figure having a private life. It's not going to happen. It's we
No, I mean he
promote the
stood his
private.
ground, didn't he? Didn't he get shit for not? He wouldn't join up and that, would he? Didn't he get into trouble for all that? And they removed his license and all sorts. He stood up to them all, didn't he? He was
Yeah.
he was a courageous guy for his time, no doubt about it, and a shit hot boxer. On top of that,
He
The
didn't
chat
punch
room.
with. He didn't punch with power or nothing. He was just a speed boxer. That's all it was.
Yeah,
But he
yeah,
did
but
not.
he was good at it though, wasn't he? I mean, it worked out for him,
Yeah.
you know. So some of the big hitters these days, he probably wouldn't, take many of them, but he could. He did. I mean, you watch them Frazier fights. Jesus, there's seven
Jesus,
bells of shit
Jesus
out of each
Jonesy.
other.
And
You
speaking of
know.
Jesus Jones says like that bit. That was the communist coming out of Parkinson. And the chat room were talking about Magna Carta and this decay, the first written document in English law under common law. Prior to that law was customary to the land unwritten. Jonesy, it was a legal document and lawful because it's from God. It can't be repealed. Only statuses can be repealed. Well said. But the Magna Carta is a trust. It involves the monarchy, the barons, and the people. So if that trust is ever dissolved, or it will fall down. It will not. You won't be able to stand or use it. It's also public, arguably to the public and for the general public. And the general public is a status and capacity that you might not want to consider. It would be a public law. You've got the habeas corpus and certain bits that you could argue, but not in admiralty, in high court. That would work, and in strength and numbers, you could argue, somebody signing an agreement under duress as well. And what James has said, you've sparked a few ideas and responses about Magna Carta with your comments earlier, Jay. Then I'm just picking up on the vibe of the chat room, but the Magna Carta is not as good as the equitable remedies that you can invoke as man in your correct status, standing, capacity, set law, creditor, as king, and all the things that was brought to you. So as great as constitutional Magna Carta is in our findings and discovery and remedies that we've since had with Kevin, myself, and various removal of agents and not anything massive yet, but big enough, and what we're presently undertaking in private, and the testimonials that we've had from your own work with the passive learning that you've got from the Facebook trust and the .com or the videos. We're making a big dent, and a faster dent. We're getting there quicker, faster, stronger, and more effectively going private, and with these other techniques, methods, and instruments. So none of them involve us using Article 61 or any reference to the Magna Carta, and we're getting stuff done, aren't we, Kev? Rapidly,
Yes.
in some cases. So it isn't I'm not saying you shouldn't use that or look at it, but you need to know what at law level you are being met at. And much like going to an admiralty court and quoting constitutional rights, you will never get them acknowledged because you're in an admiralty court and
because
world of
you've
so it will never work as a defense or remedy. They will never hear you, and you will get a summary judgment because all will be you'll fail to represent because you're going constitutional and admiralty. So going Magna Carta to admiralty or anything is similar to constitutional, I would argue, and coming up on anything to do with any successes of that would be your peril, Beryl. There are other smarter, quicker, more efficient, non-vexatious ways in which to conduct your business and represent correctly, avoid a summary judgment, a warrant for failure to attend and discharge, or move up to a higher realm. That's not said with any anger or malice, but if you can't get that, you're in serious trouble. That's all that makes me think. Man, in trouble.
In 1230, they perfected the corpus juris system, which brought in the surname and.
Wait, I had one more thing to say, that I've also published an article on the .com with the 1216 papal bull annulling Magna Carta. So
yes, man.
To my findings, that I'm sorry
your
to
trump
say it,
card.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when we dig deep. And when we say we've been down every rabbit hole, fam, we've been down there. So you are rolling with the SS Sovereign fully loaded, and we are ready to rock. That's why I said, let's rock. And
instead of shooting bullets, you shoot situations, which is in the they shoot situations.
It's all peace and love. It's all peace and love. I'm only telling because I love you, and you need to know. You need to be up on this, and you need to be argumentative, defensive, and be able to stand upon it and know and go and actually have a look. So if you are presently on the .com, you will be able to find a post in one of the forums about the Papal Bull 1216 annulling Magna Carta. And if you're not, go onto a generic search engine and put them keywords in and see what gets brought up, and then come back to me, and then we'll have a chat more.
No, I'm on about the their system. They shoot situations that instead of bullets because it's in the silent water quiet weapons. If you read through that document, you probably have.
Go on. Yeah, I have read it before, but I haven't memorized it. No, it was.
Why not?
They give you instead of shooting bullets, to shoot situations. And in conflicts of interest and
Yeah, that comes into the Hegelian dialect and having
yeah,
the opposite ends of the Hegelian dialect and getting theses and syntheses out of
yeah.
that because of the you could argue Trump type scenario and the what a status he's got, like a democratic-y type. Is he a Democrat? Have I got that right? I don't know.
He's a
Is he a liberal?
Republican.
Republican. So there you go. He's a Republican status, and then you've got the opposite end of the scale, which is the Pope Francis and his connection with America and the blessings of and the scale that he's at. And then you got
Well, they've got
the
another pope
two.
as well. They've got a
So
dark
because
pope.
they're at different and yeah, grey, white, and black, isn't there? And
Yeah.
yeah, because those two, Trump and the Pope Francis, the CC, are at different ends of the same Hegelian dialect. That creates a thesis and a synthesis, and that's comparable to the other things we brought to you with the that man, what's he called, Hermes Trismegistus, and the yeah, the information with the yeah, Hegelian dialect and the seven hermetic principles, was it? That's actually in play now. When you saying the shoot situations at you, a man's consciousness and mind isn't really capable of handling more than five major situations at any one time, and you'll have a breakdown. You'll start drinking or sniffing cocaine or smoking weed or whatever you can get your hands on to deal with it, to cope with the family and the stress. And if you get more piled up on you, then that's when you start, losing it, and bad things happen. So we are not good at giving ourselves a support network or financial daily management, social management of any kind. We keep stuff to ourselves, we bottle it up, we don't share anything, we mismanage our finances, and we go to the ones that are oppressing us for help. And it's like, oh wow, it's really crazy. But I went on a tangent there. Sorry, boys.
Yeah, this is it's absolutely mad. He's just like,
Okay, well,
if you were to take this on, and as soon as you became conscious, you'd be like, "Whoa, mate!" But I've decided to take it on and hopefully help others and show others the way.
You got to get, it does make you angry, does when you suddenly
Yeah,
at
yeah,
first
yeah.
when
I
the whole
remember.
picture becomes
I remember.
clear.
I was on the phone to the council, proper screaming at him.
I know it once the whole thing becomes clear, and you suddenly think, but everything's just corrupt, and it's like, fuck this, I smash the world down. This is mental, It really, oh yeah, I had to get over the anger.
Yeah,
Graham helped
you
me with
have to
that.
put that anger aside and
You
like,
can't deal with it in anger because you screw up. So you
mm,
have to. Well, as I say, what I do is I turn it in, not necessarily during the conversation, but in my head, I turn it into a bit of a joke, and I know what's going to be said, and blah blah blah. So it's really quite easy. It's just like jumping through the hoops, isn't it?
yeah,
You know. But oh, mate, it's a nightmare out there. It really, everything that's going on,
the
the anger, as I say,
misrepresentation act as well.
yeah,
But,
everything that's going on, it's all fraud, it's all there, it's all right in the once you realise that, you think this is just outrageous. This is
yeah,
outrageous what's
what
going
we've
on.
got, what we have now is there's a legal system out there that's legal, and we recognise that as law. We did do, but that's not law.
Yeah,
That's not my
no,
name. That's not my name. It's not real. It's an imaginary fictional world that deals with your dead legal fiction and not man.
yeah,
But man immerses themselves in that as that fiction, and the barristers and the solicitors manage us with as our fictions and use it as personage and barratry, which are crimes, and
yeah,
the bar are involved in that, and the barratry
yes,
involves the word bar, baratry, in a barratry, barrage, and the words that come from bar and etymology aren't too clever and pretty either. So they're all the
no,
similar type nature of words, and it's like personage, and they have an agreement. The legal society, the law society, barristers and solicitors have a sworn attestation and oaths and that to the licensed law society, and the way they work with their peers, and they cannot damage the crown. So when you hire them, and then they may be miscarriages of justice of which the police may be involved in, or other such rank and file officers of the principal trustees and agents, and you need to highlight that. They will be reluctant to do so, a bit like when you were in a courtroom and you've got a jury there and they get asked if they're aware of jury and jury annulment, because jury nullification, or it's a different word in England, I always get it wrong. I forgot it, but that you won't end up on the jury. So house wins 9 times out of 10, Dan, you get me? It's like we need to put a stop to it. The legal is not law, and they
Yeah.
have tricks and they have little things that they do that we haven't been aware of, but we're more aware of it now and we're more guarded. And it's a shame. I'd like to have talked to that John Smith about the common law courts and what was happening there, and the fact that me and Andy went up to Alderhay to go and have a chat with his family after they went to a
Yeah.
second High Court judicial hearing to represent and say that they wanted to manage their property assets, son Alfie, and they put their birth certificate in a common law court. And we got to that situation too late. And yeah, it was at the third hearing they went to, and we didn't get to speak to them. And there was all that commotion going off. But we did speak to family and get, somewhat there. But disappointing as it is, we didn't get the equitable remedy to be invoked at that High Court to supersede the legal crap that was going off. So, yeah, kick in the balls, to be fair. But that's just the game that's happening there, where they thought legal and even changing helicopters on standby and sacking the
Yeah.
barrister and getting an Italian barrister and all these charities and do-gooders. They didn't know
They
the
could have
stuff
got
that
they
they
could have got a canon law.
Joe, do you know what I mean? Thousands of pounds thrown at it, High Court appearance after High Court appearance, media circus, mums running around thinking, well, what's going to happen to my baby? Again, like the schools, Alfie in the hospital. Well, you're not taking
If
him
you ain't
out.
got enough worry.
I was told on the phone when I spoke to Thomas that he was given a bit of paper and he didn't know what he was signing because he was so tired and he was so confused about everything. His solicitor gave him something to sign, and he said, if you revive, it was a section something order. And I says, how did you end up getting a sec? Because he said to me, if I'm not allowed in that room, and if I have to try and revive him, and I get caught, I'm going to get done for assault and battery of my own child. And I said, no, that's in law. You're saving your son, mate. If he's having a CPR failure or something, that's a coronary pulmonary, not CPR. James
Yeah.
is in the civil, and you're trying to save your son. That's nowhere near a crime, mate. We can deal with that. And he says, no, but this order and so forth is mean that I've agreed to it. I says, but you've done it under duress, and you was
Yeah.
confused, and he didn't know, and your solicitor should be guarding you against that shit. Or your barrister, And I says, so just an example of the systems at hand, at how they, word things and get things to separate. Well, whilst at the time they're being deceptive and doing the most disgusting, horrible thing, which is taking your blood away from you and inflicting these order followers and these officers in a hospital, which is again a military institution, means you've gone cap in hand to one of them institutions and you're susceptible to contracting with them and being at the mercy. And then once you try and take any power, that system calls in its rank and file officers, the boat people, and they stop you. So my message to all you boat people is, you need to know what boat you're on and what flag you're sailing, because apparently it's a skull and bones, and your captains reside in the square mile of London, and they're the ones that manage everything under the authority of the Club of Rome, which we've pointed out. Enough said. Again, help us. Somebody help
Didn't
us.
the Pope put his hand out in trust for Alfie? Well,
He got a second citizenship, yeah, but he didn't do enough. Man's running things. That man's running everything, that man. He's there.
Yeah.
He's the top man of all this realm. I shit you not.
He
And
could have sorted that.
he couldn't save that. But yeah, Andy Sovereignsmith put on notice and asked for a rite of passage with Steve McRae on fucking backup. Yes, we give it everything we could. And that priest, that Catholic black priest there, shit his pants and rang somebody like the foreign embassy, a diplomat, a concierge, I don't know, started babbling Italian. The next morning, cleared off. They went back to court, lost everything, and then his little lad. Enough said, man. I'm just, you know what I mean? Joke, epic joke. Just what the hell? What
I
the
remember
hell?
when we met in Liverpool, and you told us about like other agents coming. Like if you watch the James Bond movies, they have the MI5.
At the end of the day, this is it. You got to know
Yeah,
your rights. You got to know what law is, law and legal.
yeah,
Offences and
Yeah,
victims. Yeah, when there's a charge, somebody you need to look at accepting it conditionally, remaining in honour because it's legal. There is no
yeah,
victim. There is no crime. There's nothing to worry about. It's just paperwork. When there's a crime, there will be a victim. When there's a victim and a crime, you will know about it because you will have had a fight, you will have done something, you will have harmed
yeah,
somebody, you will have had an accident, you will have physically done something to a physical other being on this realm, and you will have to make up to that because that's what a crime is. You've ignored somebody's rights. Michael O'Bernicia is it? My rights end where yours begin. So if you don't
yeah,
respect that simple rule, commandment, covenant with man, then that's where the problems happen. And you don't need to refer to any paper proclamation from the House of, or Magna Carta, or constitutional, or legal mandated statute code, unified commercial code, or anything. You just need to refer to ourselves and our community and make it right, and that's it. We don't need to go into all these intricacies and books and pages and 2,000 documents and 68 million statutory, whatever it is, codes. And ignorance of the law is no defense. Well, even an army
yeah.
doesn't learn all this public bullshit in a million years, fam. So how the hell do we stand a chance? I say, no consent for me, thanks. I'll use my person to afford the correct public liability and to use it for benefit. I'll remain as a creditor, settlor, and Mr. OR. All words ending in OR, I'll think I'll take. Trustees, you can remain over there as the rank and file officers, and we'll carry on as that, thank you, until we work out the rest of the jig. If there's any confusion there, then I'm sorry. That's just simply put as I see it.
I'm ready. I'm ready to enter into negotiations anytime you are, officers.
This is it. Yeah, it's they're not
Yeah,
trained
come
though.
on then. If
All
you want a
they're all
contract,
ISIS.
let's.
they're out there, but they're
Yeah,
not trained. They don't know what we know. It's unfortunate
I
where
know.
we have surpassed
It's sad.
the technology, YouTube, Facebook, these hangouts, the internet. We have surpassed many of the ones. I think somebody was saying on a private chat that the Bank of England have got something on their website asking man if they know about money, if they're interested about money, and the answer is not much know about anything to do with money. Who was that, James? Was that me and you?
Oh, yeah, I'd go down there. I'd go down and see. So, so when you write these checks, what's back in the check? So when there's no tangible commodity behind it because you took it out the gold standard in 1931, you could ask them that. Like, well, oh yeah, where's your claim?
Checks,
What is
that's a good
back in
word.
it?
Look at, I know who the man is that brought the word checks into the English language. I'm not going to say it right now. I'll let others go and find it out. But the word check has not always
Yeah.
been in the Anglo vocabulary, and it's coming
It's
from
to do with a
somewhere with
chessboard,
somebody.
though, isn't it? Checks. Checkmate.
It's interesting, very interesting, yeah. But
You watch Chiron last, The Law of the Sea. He breaks
yeah,
it down well, and you got vendors, and I've got this book as well.
ships, shops,
It's called a
sales.
treatise for vendors and purchasers of personal property. It's written by George Ross.
Okay.
Yeah. And it goes into how to purchase things, and I've not read it yet, so I've got to read this book. And the more I read through that book, the more books you have to get to understand
We
what that book
digress
is
though. We've
saying.
gone from Chiron last and Admiralty, so let's go back to that. Put a pin in that.
Mm.
Shops, ships. There's the similarity there. Ships and shops. Okay, and then you've
Yeah,
got what sales. We're having a
yeah,
sale. We're gonna have to liquidate all stock. Yeah, yeah. You got that. You got aisles in the shop. What else? You got
yeah.
aisles.
Altars.
Ships, sales, freezing. If you're doing bad business, your business is going under. Going what? Under what? Underwater. It's sunk. What else is there now? Liquidating your assets, having
Deals.
your assets frozen, freezing your assets. You freeze water. Come on, you started this now. I've got loads on these ones. But the
Yeah.
admiralty, water, sales, commerce, into commercial intercourse is what they call it, and the UCC is there governing that. That's around all of that business. But yeah, it's very similar. That's how Chiron last brings that. He does a lot more as well, though. He goes into churches and courts and
I
shops
like all
and
the UCC
pastors.
myself.
Again, too many codes. I can't. I love stuff like that, but I looked at all that and went, oh no, thanks. I see
No,
what it is. Yeah.
I'd be lucky enough.
UCC's tied into Rome as well under the Universal Deutsche or something. I can't remember what it is. It's on
Something German.
Yeah, no, it's spelled UDROIT or something.
Unidroid.
Oh yeah,
Unidroid.
Unidroid.
You've got,
Yeah, something
you've
like
got. God, Lord, James, you do pluck some stuff out you from. Yeah, you're right.
that. I was
You've
just
got
reading about that, some of that the other day. Funny enough, how
Yeah.
strange.
Unidroid agreement. Yeah, that's what you're on about. And
That's
there's also,
that's the Treaty of Rome. That.
Good Lord, you're giving out loads here tonight. You for the researchers. God Lord.
Yeah.
10 years worth of gear here.
People are exploding.
10
Yeah.
years worth of like on and off for like 80, like
Fuck.
30.
I've just found 11,000 hours. I've just found 11,000 hours on one of the subjects we've covered tonight.
Wait, you said because, and I've got a bonus one, a sovereign bonus one for you all. Because Kevin said German, I'll give you the Lieber code, which is Lieber, and then code separately. Go search that as well. That ties in not directly with the Unidroit agreement, but it's another similar. You're talking UCC and German, so I'll integrate both of them and say, family, go and check out the Lieber code. And yeah, that's another just weird reason why your brain just gets overloaded with this realm
Isn't
of
that
which
loving?
oh,
Isn't the
just
translation of
breaks
that
me.
loving?
No,
What do you mean no?
I don't know. It's not a living document proclamation, and
No,
very
it'd just be
system.
ironic. I thought Lieber was loving.
I'm not sure. I don't
Ich
know,
liebe
James.
es. Ich liebe es. I'm loving it. So there you go.
Cle-
Anyway, on you go.
I mean, Churchill, isn't it? Churchill.
Julius Caesar was the man to first coin money. He was scowled at, and that's why he got fucked over in the days because he made these bonds and papers going about and IOUs and promises to pay effectively to coin money. Julius Caesar, that's an interesting part of history as well, and how they made him pay for what he did. And then obviously we had the sovereigns and the mints and
He
the
got it proper, didn't he?
the precious metals that could be, and then you had the management of the cost and the face value and it being made of a precious metal and the valuation of the market gold standards. And oh Lord, did that mess things up. So yeah, when I said I've done my research on money and finances and
everything does
economy,
really
wow.
come from Rome.
Oh well,
Yeah,
there's a
all
lot.
roads lead to Rome. Hence the saying, all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah, when you do your history, yeah, and it's like when Santos says all is autumn. I know what he means now. Telling has come out and he's come out with the vortex style and the energies and the toroidal, and we are really have. That's what I mean. We've overtaken the history books. We've rewritten the history books, and we've done some remarkable research. What we've brought out is I don't think that everybody really realizes what age we're in and the state and the I don't know the options that we have if we so choose them. That's as simple as it is. If you use your free will, get on the wheel and use the free wheel, give it a spin and see what you come out with. It's bedazzling me.
Yeah. If you look at the Land Property Act as well, it can be expressed in will. I think it's section 50, around section 50 of it there.
Your will is a lot. Your will and testament, you go and use it.
Will's
Your will.
that.
Yeah. I'm making a sandwich, boys. We've chatted for that long. I've actually got hunger pangs. Excuse me.
What are you having on your sandwich, David?
What am I having? Probably cheese and Branston on a white tiger black pepper bloomer. Not too healthy, but
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
I'm not saying.
I'm going to have it on a white tiger rug.
At the weekends, what it is, during the week, I do have quite a strict intake, but at the weekend for 2 days, I don't eat what I want, but I eat a bit more, the crappier stuff rather than being healthy. 5 days health, 2 days renegades. Not so you don't really, I like it. Nice balance because
5 and 2.
I'm not a saint. I tell you, I'm not. You've got to give yourself a little bit of slack. You try and be a perfect operating, health-free, knowledgeable, honourable. It's a lot of pressure on yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Robot.
Like an addict, an alcoholic wouldn't stop drinking suddenly after 20 years of intensive drinking. Wake up one day and think, that's it. I'm never having a drink again. They would have to wean themselves off it in order to become alcohol free, because just stopping it would kill them. Yeah.
Getting an echo off your mic, Dave.
All right. Well, stop that. It's cursing me. I'm on a handset now. I can't have echo on a handset. That's impossible. I'll move it. I took my headphones off. Is that better?
Oh, wow. Better echoey, but it'll do for now.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo on it, mate, but it's all right.
I'll turn my thing that I use handsets as well. I was watching Harry as well, chemtrails, and I saw something about blockchain. That's to do with cryptocurrency and
I've had some adverts about that. I did register with it to get further info, but to be honest with you, I haven't checked my email. But I did, just to see what it was, get a bit more insight.
They're pushing these e-commerce adverts. Have you seen them, David?
Go on. I might have.
Yeah, I always see this geezer. Oh, look at me now! They told me.
On YouTube. On YouTube before the videos. Oh, I can't stand him. Oh, it makes my. Yeah, I do know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, calls himself Wesley $1 billion virgin.
There's always that one as well that says, I'm the stocks I'm going to buy after Brexit. There's like scare videos that they're always pushing up to the news feed.
Mate, it's all done by design. They're pushing these adverts now because they realise that people are moving away from the mainstream here, so they have to channel their ads in some other way. Because
I know. And then the ads that they put in, you'll have somebody talking about the bills of exchange and how bad debt is and that it's all a fiction. And then when an advert comes on, it'll be like a credit card that they put on purpose. I shit you not. That's on purpose. If you're talking about something and it's against the system, they'll put the system's commercial thing on that thing just as the paradox is unbelievable.
Oh, it's all around us.
Yeah, it's just like they put in two thumbs.
It is all around us, but at the same time, they put it there at the same time, so they entice you. They want you to lower keep your conscience at your stomach, not to access the.
It's a relentless machine. It's a relentless war. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have a heart. It's just been operating for thousands of years through elite bloodlines and extreme exclusive code. And now technology and the written word and interpretation and language has become so, we've got this much knowledge on it. And with there's this many, what we're talking about now is due to probably, I don't know, 200,000 men's work of the last 20 years. It's not us that's brought up. We're not bringing you anything new under the sun. We're just bringing information that we've put in ways and seminars that we've heard and presentations and instruments that might benefit you if you contemplate what we're saying and how we've done and compare the results with what you're getting and what we're getting. And then ask yourself why. What is the difference? Where is it? Where is the power? Who is the power? and it soon starts to, shape up.
Yes, indeed.
Magic, spells, casting. This is it.
Yeah, spelling.
Weird. Like the Chiron last says, he goes in that as well. That's good. We curse ourselves with the language we use. The Babel we speak is a cursive language, and we curse ourselves with it. That's your etymology with Josh and Stovilla that we'll bring up now and go a bit
Speaking
deeper
in
into
tongues.
it. Yeah, the common tongue, yeah.
Speaking in tongues. Nice moon tonight. Bloody cold out here. What's it like up your part of the world? Must be under 6 foot of snow up there, aren't you?
No, not in
Well,
Midlands.
apparently it was snowing in Austria.
In Austria.
Yeah. Got
That's buggered me weekend up, isn't it?
All right.
Oh, bless him. Meteorological expert, James.
Logical.
Does that mean it's coming our way then?
Probably. I don't know. Well, it was snow the other day here, but it was more sleet more than snow.
No, we ended much
I
here.
don't know where. I don't know what Howie's doing. Howie's always got something going on in the background. He's with his gizmos.
Still.
Me, I'm just playing with my hair. It's a bit longer than normal. It needs cutting.
Me too. I've got a hat on.
We're drifted, boys. We're talking about comprehensive academies trusts.
Oh yeah, of course we were. Sorry, we were just having a moment. We were having a men moment. We were bonding over hair.
I'm bringing it back into life. I'm going to have a look at the chat room.
Thanks to ruin it, Dave. Ruin my moment.
I nearly said ladies. Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
nice.
Just about to talk about what shampoo he uses, and you spoiled it. Can't believe it. I'll never know.
I use natural African soaps. That's what I use. I don't use
baby tears. African baby tears is what I use.
No, it's called.
Oh,
I've got it here. It's called 100% pure African black soap, but it's got zinc. It's got antioxidants and vitamin E in it. It's got jojoba in it.
Some ants.
Yeah.
Have you got any closing words, boys, other than what you're on about? Anything relevant? No. I'm going to shut you down. Thank you. It's time to go.
I will get where I want to be because I just want everyone to get in the private, get benefit, and get people up. I really just want to help the homeless. Really get them aware of this information.
Yeah, it's one of our aims.
Yeah, just get them off the street and get them fed, get them watered, and then.
Well, there's plenty of places that could be used that's fucking laying around, for Christ's sake.
But they incorporate all the all the hostels, the what is it?
Yeah, of course
they slam you with identity, and and if you don't have identity, you won't get this and that, and then they have food banks, and
we've got to find ways around that, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm sure we can.
Yeah, man. Of course you can. There's always a solution.
But why do you think they need identity for the homeless so they can start charging, isn't it? Name, national insurance, all that business, date of birth, and proof of that. So then the homeless can submit and contract without them being contracting, even though the homeless don't have any money. Their estates have money. And that's what these charities will be drawing upon, I would imagine, and through the
I'd agree with that.
Once they prove to the government that they've got John Doe of date of birth 8th of May 1976, and they can prove through the paperwork that John Doe's now submitted is actually there. His person is there because John's there in physical form, needing
in persona.
Yeah, that's it. And And then
Yeah.
he doesn't know he's in Personam. He just thinks he's Mr. John Doe. And 8th of May 1976, and that's it. And then the homeless charity are getting the subsidies for him, Mr. John Doe himself, and all the particulars to do with his person, but the man is receiving the benefit, you see. But wow, it's mental. Yeah, you're right though. That's why without the ID, they won't get paid, so they won't home or look after the man in persona because his person, he doesn't have a person. A homeless man without a person is not going to get anything. So your homeless man needs a person essentially for them to look after him. So there you go. That's why Palestine have got no persons. Palestine don't have an ID. They're not allowed ID. There's a reason for that. Under the human rights, you a person. So argumentatively, much like the girls in school now that aren't allowed out to change towels in class time, that would be sexual discrimination. But we'll look at claims of that nature and policy and justification of that down the line. But that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, man, it's just they're obsessed with this tort claim. It's tort claims galore. They're obsessed with it. As long as they can create misery, death, destruction. The elite, the elite are not happy if other people are happy because love will conquer all.
Absolutely, mate.
Liability. Jesus Jones writing liar and then ability for the
Yeah.
liability. We're not talking about eating cats. What?
We're not in China. Oh,
Yet.
yeah. Well, communist state. I thought.
Well, there's 26 that have been. We've had a steady 26 for the last hour and a half. Like there's Jonesy, Albert, Mickey, Kay. Who else was there now? Let me scroll up a minute. There was Mickey, Jonesy, Albert, Kay, Mad Pieman. I think Honda was there for a bit as well.
That's spot on. That's spot on.
Having a good old chat and natter. I'm glad we've entertained you. And the sheer productions. Hello there. There's somebody new, I think. Sheer productions. Mickey Finn. Yeah, I think I've said everybody. These lot have just been having a good old natter. And hello, David Johnson. Thank you for the link. I messaged you on earlier. Yeah, thank you all. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's crept up to 27 now, but we've exhausted this topic and it's late, boys.
I've ruined it by making jokes.
No, it's good. It's
when are you doing the next hangout? Because
Monday, Sun and Moon, myself and a man called Josh that presents with Martin Kenny about many different topics, but there is no structure in my head for the hangout. I am going to chat to Josh again tomorrow and get to know him a bit if at some point where there's time. And then that's Monday coming, Sun and Moon. Then I'll ask Josh if he wants to come. I've made him an account, a guest account on SPLs Pro. So he's on there. He can have a look on the .com and familiarise himself with what we're doing. Because I'd like him, when I say we're looking for a sovereign assembly or ambassadors or diplomats, a steering wheel committee, a sovereign council, I'm serious. I'd like women on there, men on there. And we use that for the management of the trust funds and everything, the assets, the acquisition. There's men out there that can build log cabins and stuff that are classed as temporary structures, and they can do it for some £1,000, not tens of thousands, and you can have a temporary log cabin and stuff. There's ideas being bandied around of acquiring land, national trust, buying it, claim of right, many in every which way, setting up trusts and master trusts and private lawful trusts, legal trusts, not ecclesiastical and not using legalese or any of their crap, but there's two main options, lawful and legal. Both have got their own advantages and uses. So, we've got a lot to discuss. So
and then you've got equities. It sits in between the both.
Yeah, well, equity acts in personam. Remember that. There's your key. So if equity acts in personam, that's only us, blood, man, flesh, personam. Yeah. So the legal realm is the lawful realm. The legal realm has given us a lawful exit, but if you don't know in the legal realm that there's a lawful way, that's like your common law having your equity then. So to common law, you've got equity, which is supplementary for your remedy. And two, you're legal, you've got your lawful, which is supplementary to your remedy, which does involve equity, but acts in persona and is only exclusively available to the man when he invokes it, should he know. I think is a fair way of putting it at 12 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Sorry, YouTube.
Subrogate or yeah, man.
Bless you all. Thank you. Much love. You are shining stars.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, boys.
Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been entertaining.
Oh, I do enjoy talking to David of the family clan Jeremy.
It's David
Laird David, if you don't mind.
And Jeremy would be better to put. Yeah, David.
Oh yeah, and Jeremy. I forgot the and there. I made a mistake, but I presumed wrong at the same time.
You guys, this chat room's so big. Look at them. 26 of them nattering on, but there's
Fair play.
10 of them. Good core 10. Thank you, Nonna. Much love to everybody. Mickey.
Yeah, I'll go through the comments. I'll see them all. Thank you.
Johnson, tell us more. Academies. I trust something. I got big stories. Stories on, but it's stories. You got you got big stories. Well, hang on for David Johnson if he wants to give a little. Yes, he's basically giving some info. Need to get on, Dave. No, we're shutting down. It's too late. Another time. Not because I'm horrible, but I am tired. I'm shattered, and I've got crap to do tomorrow. We'll do it another time.
Yeah. It's getting towards 3 hours, isn't it? Anyway, now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's
2.5 at least, something like that.
Yeah, boys. Much love. Thank you very much. Stay sovereign, and we'll speak.
No worries.
Yeah,
see you soon, brothers.
Bye.
Good to speak to you, James. See you, mate.
See you later, Kevin.
I'll speak to you soon, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. You too.
Cheers. See you all.
Ciao, Bello.
Good night, Dave.
Bye.
Shadow, Kevin. Much love. See you later, boys. Chat room. Much love. Ciao for now.